What is going on, everyone? It's good to see everyone. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this live, thank you for joining me. If you're going to be watching this back after the fact, thank you for stopping by and checking out the channel. As you guys can tell by the title of today's video, I'm looking forward to discussing a lot of the things that have been happening over the last month or so in the community, both with actual updates and just overall sentiment and things that I've been experiencing, and a lot of the things that I'm looking forward to checking out and being a part of over the next couple months and leading in until 2023. I don't normally make update style videos like this. As you guys know, if you do watch my channel, I often make videos pertaining to numbers, specifically to OMI, running them, seeing where we could end up being for XYZ reason. But I think there's a lot of catalysts that a lot of people aren't necessarily aware of that are coming with the project that will in turn be beneficial for your investment. And while, of course, nothing that I say is financial advice, it's still important to have these considerations. And I do understand that if you're watching my channel, you don't always have the opportunity to keep up with everything that's going on in the community. So if I'm able to break it down in a digestible time frame for you guys, hopefully I can get all the information to you. And if you have any questions, of course, it is live, so you can let me know in the comments section. Shout out to Juan, shout out to Dawn. Lily, thank you very much. I'm happy to be live again. Thank you to everyone that's tuning in. I know people will be kind of trickling in over a little while if anyone has their post notifications on. I don't do these lives regularly, so I don't blame people if they weren't able to tune in live and things like that. But of course, I always appreciate all the support that you guys give me. I actually have about 20 things written down right now that I want to cover this evening. So I'll probably be live for a couple hours. So if you guys want to tune in, tune out, have me playing in the background, absolutely no worries. But there are a lot of exciting things to cover, and I look forward to doing it with all of you. Felix, I'm sorry. I'll try not to keep you too long. Flicker Bits, good to see you. Justin, good to see you as always. So thank you guys. If you have any questions about anything, obviously throw them in the comments. I will do my best to get to pretty much any question that you guys have, but do bear in mind, like I said, there are about 20 things that I do want to cover. So the chances are I might already be covering what your question is, but you're more than welcome to answer it. And if I can fill it into the chat, I'll make sure to do that. So if anyone is watching this who is in London right now at DesignerCon, make sure you let me know in the comment section. I really wanted to be able to go to that this weekend, but unfortunately I had a wedding last weekend. I have a wedding next weekend, and it's just a lot going on in my personal life right now. So I wasn't able to make the commitment to get out there. But if anyone was out there, it looked like an absolutely just amazing time. 18 people got VeVe tattoos was the last number that I got. Can you believe 18 people did that? That's crazy. I don't have any tattoos. However, if VeVe hit some of the milestones that I'm hoping it would, I'll say it now that I would definitely be open to it, because I'll have enough money that I can get laser surgery afterwards if I wanted to change my mind. So absolutely no problems, but pretty awesome. All Chat Gaming, good to see you. Andy, good to see you. John, yes, you can buy OMI with Coinbase on the DApp wallet. That's been available for about 6 months now, but it is good to have kind of extra ways to be able to purchase OMI for sure. Ben says it's 1:30 currently here in London. Well, I hope you guys are keeping the party going. I don't know if it's a long weekend for you guys out in the UK, but it's a long weekend for here for us in Canada. So we'll keep the party going. We'll keep you guys entertained for a little bit for sure. As it says, that's why I don't have friends, no weddings to attend. Yeah, that definitely helps as well. Obviously, Flicker Bits with a shout out. Smash that like button. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I like I said, and if you guys watch my channel, just a little bit of background. Like I said, I'm kind of a nerd. I like to run numbers. I like to kind of just give you guys the information. But I think it's also important to have these conversations as well. I'd like to make it out to more of these live events, hanging with you guys all in person. I haven't really been able to do that as of yet. If you guys watch Randy Chavez, you'll know that I was in New York a few weeks back, hung out with him, and then I got punished and I got COVID. So don't know if that was a sign that I'm not supposed to be hanging out with the fam, but I'm not going to let it deter me. We're back. We're here. We're doing it live. And thank you for everyone that's tuning in. I appreciate you. Don says crypto to help is great. I'm assuming crypto to gem, OMI to NFT, no OMI to gem. No need for sale pressure on OMI. I agree, especially right now. We don't want a lot of sale pressure on the OMI token. Not enough liquidity, and that would cause an issue. I think if we were to see some larger exchange listings like a Binance and a Coinbase, probably wouldn't be an issue, but for now, it would definitely cause a problem. So I'm right there with you. Mariana says, I have 0 tattoos. My wife said I could come if I give her 10 million US dollars. Come on, OMI. I trust in OMI. Well, depending on how much OMI you have, I mean, it's not completely unrealistic, right? We'll have to see what happens. Jace, let's go. Let's go for sure. Carlos, good to see you. So guys, I think we'll jump right into it. There's quite a few people that have joined since I started my ramble 5 minutes ago. So I appreciate you guys all joining and sticking with me. And we'll go through kind of the list of things that I prepared. Like I said, there's about 20 things on my list, and we'll see where it takes us. So obviously DCON this weekend, DCON London looked like a great time. Everyone was enjoying themselves, hanging out with the team. The fan came out in full force. Fantastic. David actually did a kind of impromptu AMA. There was a formal one that was done by the team, but there was also an informal one. And Wazaverse, shout out to him. Make sure you guys go check out his channel. He was actually able to record the entire thing. So about an hour and 15 minutes long. I listened to it earlier today, and that's really honestly what prompted me wanting to go live this evening. There was just so many bullish catalyst that David spoke about. And when you hear David speak, he's so genuine. For those of you that don't know, David Yu is the CEO of Ecomi. And when you just listen to him speak, you can really, it just resonates. He's just such a good, kind-hearted person. And you can tell that he's very genuine in all of his intentions. So I really like to listen to him when he speaks. So a couple of people were like, hey, can you give us the Coles Notes version on Twitter? Let us know what we missed. And I told people, I just feel like I'd be doing you a disservice to type up 2 tweets and summarize everything that David talked about. And then I thought about it afterwards, and I was like, I need to get this off my chest. So I'm going to talk about it anyways, but I definitely do recommend that you guys go check out Wazaverse and check out the entire video that Dan put out. It's an hour and 15 minutes long, David put out. Like I said, it's definitely worth checking out. So General T69 says, buy any OMI lately? Yes, I have. And I don't know if I'm going to announce it in the live. We'll see how many people show up. If we get if we hit 100 people live, maybe I'll talk about what I've done with my OMI position. But I think you guys will be pretty happy to hear about it when I do announce it. So we'll see if we get to that point. If not, I'll do a separate standalone video. But I'm very bullish on the OMI token long term. So I've definitely been making some moves to make sure that I'm in the best possible position that I can be in order to take advantage of that when that does happen. So one of the first things that I want to talk about that came up, and like I said, guys, I'll kind of go in between. I'll read a couple comments, talk about a couple things on my list, and then we'll kind of go back and forth there. So first thing I want to talk about that came out of this interview from Wazaverse, and in no particular order, guys. Some of these are really exciting. Some of these you guys might think kind of not really doesn't matter to you, but that's totally okay. Obviously, the one-of-one auctions are a new vertical that we've seen come onto the platform. This wasn't necessarily something that was discussed in David's interview, but this has been talked about a couple of times. I'm really liking that they're doing this one-of-one auction. Now, of course, we know Dr. Profit has won the vast majority of those auctions. He won the first 2 outright. And then the third one, which was the 3 Marvel artists, he won the Scotty Young Spider-Man. So he won that one. And I believe on at least 2 of these auctions, he spent at least $30,000. So it's really cool to see him, as someone who has that disposable income, taking advantage of these opportunities, because I do believe long-term, as the platform continues to grow and as more liquidity comes onto the platform, he could see a nice return on those items, or knowing him, he might just keep them for himself. So that's totally okay as well. But one of the things that I'm really liking about the one-of-one auctions is it really opens up the possibility of having major artists coming onto the platform. Think Banksy, think Beeple, think of these big artists. And I know some of you are probably watching this and you're saying, oh, it's not possible. We won't see these artists. That's absolutely ridiculous. As we know, Beeple has already made his own NFT art, and it sold for $69 million back in 2021. He's big on NFTs and he understands the value. He might go on it alone, and that's perfectly okay. But then there's Banksy. And a lot of people say, well, no one knows who Banksy is. It's not possible. They couldn't get, licensed work from him on the platform. It's just not in the realm of possibility. But I think that, if we've seen a lot of the AMAs over the last couple of months, a lot of the things that David puts in the background when he's talking about things come to fruition. And we've seen 3 pieces of Banksy's work in the background of that. And, just to think that it's a possibility, David doesn't really do red herrings. So I don't believe that he would put something there that wasn't eventually going to come, because that's not his style. We haven't seen him do that once yet, so I don't know why he would start now. So I'm really thinking that something like that could be a possibility. So we'll have to see what happens with it. But either way, just having major artists come onto the platform will just start to, that's the form of marketing. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to say, well, it's not fair because I don't have the opportunity to get it and it's not cool. But I kind of look at it as paid marketing being done by users in the community, because someone like Dr. Profit, if a Banksy was to drop, will spend $1 million plus on this item. So while none of us are going to get it, which is unfortunate, we now have marketing that will take place because news articles will pick it up, news stations will pick it up, maybe Rogers and Cohen, the partner that's partnered with VeVe and Ecomi for their marketing, will put out to their ad agencies to make sure that these are covered. And these are the type of announcements that we want to have get out to the masses. And just something like that will really drive new user traffic to the platform, because a new whale may come on and bid on this collectible and not win. But now they start checking out other things on the platform and realize, hey, I think Spider-Man's cool. I think Walt's cool. I think Todd is cool. And then start picking up those other items. So it's really just an avenue to onboard new users. And they actually did mention in the AMA that David did earlier today that they're also exploring different options for these one-of-one auctions, which I really liked. So you may be able to bid 5 gems to get access into a lottery or raffle. So you'll bid 5 gems, everyone can participate, and they'll do a random drawing, and whoever wins that drawing will get that item. And then of course the artist will get the amount that everyone kind of bid together, minus whatever VeVe takes as a cut. So I do think that they're going to start to explore different options on how to deal with that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And so one-of-one auctions are one of the things that I'm excited for right now. Dr. Tito Mazza says, can you swap ETH to OMI and MetaMask? I do believe that you can. I have not done it personally, but I do believe that Crypto Chris, who's another YouTuber, did attempt to do that at one point. I do believe that it works, but you just have to be mindful of things like slippage. There's not a lot of liquidity right now for the OMI token, so you may not get the best price for it by doing something like that. But if you don't have access to Ascendex or Gate.io or Bitforex, that could be an option available to you as well. I personally use Ascendex. I originally used Bitforex, but I just kind of fell in love with the Ascendex user interface. I found it a little bit more user-friendly. And the liquidity is relatively the same on both platforms. If you're looking to buy a significant amount, it may take a little while to fill unless you're willing to do a market buy and then just kind of raise the price for a little bit. But if you're looking to buy just, a million OMI or under or something like that, it generally shouldn't take more than 10 or 15 minutes to fill. So there are a couple different options to pick up OMI. So, always important to address the other side of the room as well. Todd says, know a number of people who've lost a lot of money from OMI. For sure. I think that there's probably quite a few people that are either in the chat right now live or are on the other side of the coin watching this back after the fact that, are not up on their investment currently. I think if you probably didn't get in before February of 2021, you're probably not up on your investment right now. Now, that doesn't mean that you necessarily need to be down a significant amount of money. There are things like dollar cost averaging that people can do to lower their entry point, which is something that I've done recently. And lowering my dollar cost average has not only allowed me to get more OMI for cheaper, but it also allows me to hit that profit mark a lot quicker. So those are the things that I look forward to when I look at the current state of the overall market. And I think it's also something to be considered as well. Yes, you've probably lost some money on OMI if you bought, any higher than what it is now. But at the same time, if you look at the general markets right now, all of crypto is down. All of the stocks are down. Housing is down. We're in a global recession. Inflation numbers are high. Issues with global conflict, amongst other things. I mean, in the short term, yes, people may be down on their money. But if you understand your investment and you understand what you invested for, you guys will know if you've been watching my channel. I've made videos for just over a year now. I've always said that my outlook has been 3 to 5 years. So until we hit that point, I'm not really going to accept, hey, I've lost money. Because once again, you only ever lose money if you sell. Your investment may be down from where it was when you first invested in, and that's totally fine. But you're not going to lose any money unless you sell. Now, if you want to sell, that's totally okay as well. Once again, I just kind of guide you guys through the journey that I'm taking, and then you make your own decisions. But I don't think that it's anything that you necessarily need to worry about. If I had more money right now tonight, I'd probably go buy more OMI like I did last week, like I did the week before that, and so on and so forth. So Mariana says, need a $10 per OMI, 10 years, no rush. And that's it. It really comes down to your perspective, right? I don't know that OMI will ever necessarily hit $10, but at the same time, if you have the 10-year mentality, like I think some people that have been here for a while really do have, because they understand the long-term outlook of the investment, you don't really stress about the minutia of the day-to-day movements, right? Like I think OMI's down like 13% in the last month. I don't really care. I just look at it as a 13% cheaper entry for me to pick up more OMI. So that's kind of how I look at it right now. So yeah, that's how I'm taking things. Ben says, what's the realistic price prediction for OMI by end of year? I have no idea, Ben. And the reason that I don't know that is because there's so many things to be announced that it's impossible to be able to accurately predict what impact those things will have, if that makes sense. And I always hesitate about giving price predictions because I feel like we're really just setting people up for failure. I can tell you what I'm hoping based on the catalysts that are coming, but really giving you an accurate number is anyone's guess, because does CPI data come back and inflation is lowered? Do people have more confidence in the market so that they're investing more money? Do NFTs receive an uptick and then VeVe gets more recognition because of that? Does VeVe secure big IP and then go on a big marketing run and then a lot of people decide to buy into it? Does the OMI utility program come out and give a lot of utility to the OMI token and therefore the price goes up? Like there's just so many catalysts. What I would like to see, just as a generalization and not time framing it by the end of the year, is I would like to see the OMI utility program be announced by the end of Q3 or at the very worst kind of October, like beginning of Q4, lets the community know what to expect and finally restore some confidence in the utility that'll be coming for the token. And I think that if it beats people's expectations, which to be honest, I don't think it's going to be super difficult right now because I feel like a lot of people's expectations are fairly low. I think once we see that, I think we could see an uptick into 0.002 or possibly even the 0.003 range. Will we hold that level? I have absolutely no idea. Whales will play whale games. We still don't have a lot of liquidity, but once again, it really depends what your goals are. If you're day trading, there'll be a lot of volatility and there could be a lot of risk associated with it. But if you're looking for a good entry, what I can say kind of objectively is that OMI has hit 0.0011 like 5 different times in the last 18 months since I've been in the project, and it's never broken below that level. So could this be a good entry point based on that? You make your own decision and do your own research. But when I'm looking at a good entry point for OMI, that's the type of things that I kind of focus on. So, and shout out to Puddin' Cheeks in the chat. He says, why would you tell people to buy more OMI? Is this financial advice? Once again, if you guys buy more OMI, you buy more OMI. If you don't, you don't. I'm just telling you that I have bought more OMI, and that was a good decision for myself. So Puddin', stop being difficult. So, and Generalist says, are you the nicest CO in Canada? I'm not a corrections officer, but I do work in law enforcement. And I'm nice when I need to be, and I'm not so nice when I don't need to be. So I guess that's the balance that I'll give you. So I'm going to go back to 1 or 2 more things on the list, and then I'll keep reading comments. So that was one of one auctions. One of the other things that was mentioned was music vertical. So as we know, the 1 of 1 auctions was obviously a vertical that came out. Before that, it was comics. And now we're seeing conversations about music, which I think is quite exciting. I'm looking forward to music and what that can bring. I was actually just watching History 101 earlier today on Netflix, and I was learning about kind of how music, digital music came to be. And it talked about Spotify and kind of how it took over the world. And it just really got me thinking that opportunities like this in a new vertical, people may not always see the kind of the long-term bigger picture, but having things like music coming onto the platform are absolutely massive. We've already seen concerts and things happen in, Decentraland Sandbox. I think Fortnite has had concerts as well. I think as we move towards kind of Web3, AR, VR, being able to put on glasses and be immersed in an experience. I think being able to buy music such as a CD cover or something like that, and that gives you access to unreleased music from a band or an extended cut of a song that hasn't been aired on the radio or just anything like that. David, you used the example that he said was not confirmed, but just as an example, you want to listen to the Back to the Future soundtrack and you're driving around in your DeLorean and you own that soundtrack. And when you're playing that soundtrack in your vehicle, it does different things and whatever the case may be. So I thought that was really cool. Don't think we need to harp too much on it. I think music will come when it comes. But guys, use your imagination a little bit and just see the opportunities that it may present. And it's just really exciting. Now, once again, sounds better coming from David than it does from me, which is why I still recommend you guys go watch his original interview. But it's one of the things he noted and one of the things that I'm really excited about. One of the other things that came out of this weekend was the red variants. Now, as we know, the most recent drop, the Doc Ock, had a red variant. Now, when this got announced, I had kind of hoped that it was going to be like 5 editions within each collection were going to be the red variant, and they were going to be extremely rare, and they're going to encourage people to kind of go for the blind box, because even if it's not sold out, you could still get a red variant, and if you get that red variant, it's going to be worth a lot of money because it's scarce. It seems like, at least for the first drop, they rolled it out, and I think it was, I didn't go for the drop, but if I remember, it was the entire ultra rare was a red variant, and I personally don't think it looked fantastic. So I kind of feel like that was a miss a little bit. But at the same time, I think the concept of celebrating Marvel's 83rd anniversary and trying to roll out new and exciting ways to engage the user base is fantastic. I just think that, VeVe maybe needs a little bit of community feedback to say what we think is working well, what we think is not working well, and go from there. So that was kind of my take on the red variants. I'm curious what you guys thought of the red variant in the comments. Did you guys like it? Did you not like it? I thought it kind of looked funny, but that's where we're at with things. All Chat Gaming says, if everything crashes and BTC goes to 13K, maybe OMI at 0003. I mean, if that happens, I'm gonna quadruple my position again. So we'll have to see. I think Bitcoin went to whatever it went, like 15.5 or whatever it went to like a month ago. And like I said, OMI still held its support level at 0011. So, anything is possible. I can't read the future, and I don't have enough money to hold the price or manipulate the market in any direction. So, anything is really possible. But what I will say is, I know a lot of people personally in my own life that I've been really salivating and looking forward to take advantage of these opportunities. I'll call him out only because he says it publicly. Hello K is looking to get like $80,000 worth of OMI if it drops down to 0.0010. So, there's people like that have access to this liquidity that are looking to take advantage of these opportunities. And I think for me, it's never been important to get the best entry. And kind of my rationale behind that is, you're never going to time the bottom, right? There's only ever going to be one person that buys at the bottom. And I'm usually not that lucky, so I don't really concern myself with those things. What I concern myself with is what is my long-term goal? I'm not a day trader, so I'm not worried I'm just going to lock it up and leave it. So I think that OMI can do XYZ in whatever time frame. Is this a good entry for that rationale? And if it is, then I go ahead with it. And if it's not, then I don't. So, even if you wait until 0.001, let's say, to buy, you can only buy what people are selling, right? Because for every sale, there needs to be a purchase and vice versa. So if there's no liquidity down at that level and you're waiting to spend $100,000 or something like that, you're never going to be successful because there's no liquidity in order to purchase that. And then everyone is battling over one another by like hundreds of thousands or millions of cents just to try and get their orders in time. And to me, that's just more stressful than locking in at whatever, a slightly higher price by 5%, but knowing that I can fill a larger order if I'm not dollar cost averaging, or even if I am dollar cost averaging over a period of time. So Flickerbit says, Dave is not only genuine, but also a super nerd and so knowledgeable about collectibles. Yeah, it's incredible to listen to him speak. Like I said, I haven't done a live in like probably 2 months, and because I generally like prepping my content, but I literally listened to the entire hour and 15-minute interview today, and it just got me so excited. I was just messaging people that I talked to privately, other content creators, and my brain was just exploding. I was like, I need to talk about this more. So I was like, we have to go live. So even if you guys voted no on the poll, I would have gone live anyways. So defeated you there. So and if you guys don't follow me on Twitter and you're watching this right now, make sure you check me out on Twitter at FosterHilt, because as you guys see, I don't make videos super regularly, but I will give my thoughts about a lot of these things in a shorter form context on Twitter. So make sure you guys check me out and we can have conversations there, because I do respond to pretty much anyone. So Yeg says, how much OMI do you have now? So the question was asked again earlier in the stream. If we hit 100 people live tonight, I will mention how much OMI I have now. I've increased my position quite a bit from where it was previously. So we'll have to see if we hit that number. If we don't hit that number, if you guys are nice to me, maybe I'll tell you anyways. And even if not, I will be making a separate video about that at some point. I feel like there's a lot of catalysts coming for OMI in the near future with the OUP and just a lot of a lot of that coming. So I'm looking forward to that. So I wanted to make sure that I was ready. Hen Dizel says, is this a quid channel now? No. And actually, I guess I didn't have that on my list of 20 things, but I will talk about that because it is something that I've noticed quite a bit in the community, a little bit of maybe backlash towards content creators who are taking these opportunities from other platforms. And so I want to make sure I'm hydrated for this one. What I will say to that is, and I've mentioned this to some of them privately because I've had conversations with them, so it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. If you're willing to check out a product and you believe that you yourself would use it, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with someone paying you to promote it, right? So if I look at something as a perfect example, I am an affiliate with Ledger. Okay, so if I put my link in a video and I tell you how to, put OMI onto a ledger, and then sorry guys, the super chat distracted me because I don't normally get tips, so thank you. I'll get to that in a moment. But Ledger, right? So I'm an affiliate with Ledger. If I put it in the video and you guys click on it, then I get like a rebate. And I've told people this in the video, like, hey, if you guys are going to buy a Ledger anyways, would you mind clicking my link? Because it doesn't save you any money, unfortunately. I don't have that pull, but I get a small rebate. You're thanking me for making the video. I appreciate it and whatever, but it's not an obligation, right? But I disclose that, hey, I'm getting paid for this, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. Where it becomes an issue is people that, promote coins like Safe Moon and all these pump and dump coins don't say that they're promoted, but they're like, hey, I'm going to check this out. I think it's really cool. And then all their followers buy it because they're like, oh, they're giving me alpha. And then they dump on them. Like, that's where I draw the line, and that's where I have an issue. So I'll give you an example. VeVe Vault, who you guys know, haven't always had the best relationship with. He took a promotionship with VeMate. He put out a couple tweets saying that he thought the product was terrible. And then he accepted a paid promotion and was like, hey, I'll check it out. Now, we're going to do a debate at some point because for those of you that may know or may not know, I actually accepted a partnership with Ecomi Wiki. And Ecomi Wiki has been something that's been around in the community for quite some time now. It's a great platform, web-based, where you can register for an account free and look up information, graphs, different things, connect your vault from VeVe directly. You can see the floor prices. You can see price movements historically. You get a lot of access to seeing your vault value, how it performs over a period of time. And there's a lot of other features that I thought was really cool. So Omi the Clown and I connected. We've been working with a group of people for a month now behind the scenes, and we're really looking to improve the platform and make it better for everyone. I am not being paid by Ecomi Wiki. I'm doing this 100% for free. There is a possibility that at some point I may receive some funds depending on how things work out, whatever the case may be. But right now I'm doing it just because I believe that it's a good resource for the community and I'm passionate about it, right? So I disclose that information beforehand. These creators that are promoting Quid and, other things, they disclose that they're being paid. So I don't think that there's any issue with that. There's other creators who aren't getting paid to do things. They'll make videos about HRO. I made a video about back owls. I didn't get paid about back owls. I just bought some back owls, thought they were cool, and I wanted to let you guys know about them, right? So I made a video about Virtua Cardano land. I've never been paid by Virtua or Cardano, but I went out and spent money on their metaverse land because I thought it was cool, and I thought it was an opportunity to get involved in the metaverse. So I think for people, you just need to be mindful, like, make sure that you're disclosing those things. And if you're disclosing those things, I don't see any issue with them because then it's really up to you what you guys decide. I can tell you, hey, I think this thing's fantastic. I'm getting paid to give a review. I also think it's cool, but it's up to you. And you make that decision. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. And then shout out to Yags for the super chat. Thank you so much. Now will you tell me? I got to keep up with you. Yes, I will tell you in kind of hints so that I don't give it away and then everyone tunes out. I had 14 million OMI. I think the last time that I publicly spoke about it, and I lowered my dollar cost average by more than half. So there's a math problem for you to figure that out. and then you guys can guess what you think that I'm at, and you guys can put your guesses in the chat, and then we'll keep going. And then as things progress, maybe we'll give you some more hints, or maybe I'll tell you, because I really like hanging out with you guys, and this is a cool vibe. So I appreciate you guys contributing and giving me things to talk about. So once again, like I said, partnership with the Ecomi Wiki, looking forward to that. Doing a debate with VeVe Vault at some point in the next couple of weeks. I think he wanted a little bit more time. I think VMate's looking to push out some updates, because I think when they first released it, I don't know that it was quite ready. And I think a few people had issues creating accounts. I know at the time I attempted to create an account on mobile, wasn't able to, so I kind of just gave up on it. And then I looked at the App Store reviews a couple days later. It was only at about 2 stars. So I don't know kind of where it's at right now. I think that they're looking to make some improvements to make it a little bit more user-friendly. But we'll have to see where they go with things. They got a team of, I think, 24 people. So, I mean, I think that they have the resources in order to improve it. And I think, at the end of the day, it's really a resource for the community. So I think that's always the net positive, right? Is that competition fuels innovation. So if people are able to innovate and push one another to grow and add things and make it better for the community, really all we're doing is benefiting all of us, right? Which I think is fantastic. So, Blended Oreo says, "Hey Foster, willing to sell one of your Tods?" That's a good question. I don't know what I'm planning to do with my Tods. I've always just referred to it as a wall of Tods. I do have a dozen of them. They're all first edition. I haven't really thought about what I'm going to do with them. I've only unboxed the one of them. Haven't put a lot more thought past that. But reach out to me on Twitter at FosterHilt, and we can have a conversation about it. I'm always open to have a conversation. So. And Endil says, "Look at those statues." Yeah, so I'm excited about all these statues. One of the cool ones, actually, the blue Todd. There's actually only 500 of them in the world. So I was really excited to land that, because, of course, if VeVe ever comes out with cosmetics or variants and you're able to get a blue Todd, I own 2 Todds right now on VeVe. But if you're able to get a blue Todd and it's super rare on VeVe as well, that could be really exciting. NFT Hero says, "Thanks for your ledger video." Of course. VeVe Collectible says, "Can you adjust your brightness?" Yeah, I've been trying to figure that out, to be honest with you. I was playing with it a little bit beforehand. That's not a nice view of my face. And let's see if that's a bit better. Did that make it worse? Oh God, guys, we're falling apart here. So I have 2 kind of like floodlights that it's weird. When I'm closer, it's better. But when I'm further away, it's brighter. Guys, I'm not a tech guy. How do I fix this? Okay, we'll worry about that again soon. But I do acknowledge that it's an issue, and I'm aware of it. Maybe I'll sit like this, and then I have like Heath Ledger. Is it like or not? Oh God, it's not Heath Ledger. Oh God, you guys are gonna judge me because it's a Batman thing. Two-Face. There we go. And I got like a bright side, like a dark side. We'll just go with that for now. Mariano says, "You lose when you accept you lost. One OMI will always be one OMI no matter the price anyway." It's sad that people that can't hold and need to accept that they lost. I totally agree with you. I think that there's some people that got into this and thought maybe it was a short-term kind of play, like a lot of other cryptos are, thought that they'd get in, kind of make a bunch of money and then be able to dip out quickly. And I think, I might be guilty of thinking that way at first as well. But as I started to learn more about the project, I actually gained more confidence in it, because instead of having to worry about exit liquidity from other people and not having utility or a use case, all of those things kind of are not a concern for me anymore, because OMI is going to be backed by VeVe. And as long as VeVe as a platform is successful, I believe that the OMI token will be successful. So I think that's something that we always need to focus on, but it's not for everyone. And that's totally okay, which is why I always tell people, like, I feel very fortunate that I'm not in a position where I need you to buy, and I need your cousin to buy, and I need your aunt and uncle to buy, and your friends at work to buy in order to make my OMI more valuable. What's going to make my OMI more valuable is you using VeVe. So that's why I always say, I'm an OMI bull, because I believe OMI will be more valuable than VeVe long-term, but I still need VeVe to be successful in order to have OMI be successful. So, I think Arcade Collectors Europe, kind of echoes that point. He says, "I applaud every cent OMI goes lower. Why would I care for today's price?" And that's exactly it, right? Like, if you guys believe in the long-term use case of it, and you believe that VeVe transactions will burn OMI tokens, then you have nothing to worry about. So that's kind of how I view that. Button Cheek says, "I hear if you smash that like button on the video, a leprechaun with a pot of OMI will arrive at your home." Hey. why don't we try it and see if it works, guys? Appreciate all the likes on the video and everyone tuning in. So thank you for that. Apparently I sound like Kermit the Frog. So, hey, I got that going for me, I guess, as well. Maybe I have a future in television and showbiz. So, hey, we'll go with that. Ed says can only go up from here. I'd like to think so, but it can technically also go down. So just be mindful of that as well, guys. But I do believe that long-term, OMI is looking pretty good. That's for sure. Booth says you're a Fed. Not quite, but I am in law enforcement. Yes. So Ivan the Terrible says just picked up my red. I hope you like it. NFT Hero echoes that the red variant was terrible. And Jojo says no bueno as well. I totally agree with you guys. I didn't love it, but you know what? That's the great thing about collecting. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and maybe some of you guys liked it better than others. So that's fantastic. So, and then Naruto says, are you in OMI or NFTs more? Like from a financial, like an initial investment kind of perspective, or what exactly? So I guess I believe that OMI relative to VeVe will do better long term, and I guess that's kind of confusing. But like if you gave me $1,000 today and you said, hey, you need to invest it in VeVe or Ecomi or both, what would you do? I would hands down invest $1,000 in OMI today, me personally. Because I believe that anything that you could pick up for $1,000 right now in the store in VeVe will be drastically outperformed by the price of OMI long term. Short term, next 3 to 6 months, whatever, I have absolutely no idea. That's a complete crapshoot, and it's anyone's guess. But 3 to 5 years time, I just don't see that being the case. And I'll give you guys a perfect example because I try and be as transparent as I can. I know some people think that I always have a hidden agenda, but I really don't, guys. I'm just a talking head on a screen, and I always appreciate the support. But I just try and tell you guys what I learn and what I think, and you don't have to agree with it, and that's totally okay. But I own 4 wallets, so 2 of them got on drop back in November of last year, and then 2 more were purchased in the last 5 months. 1 in the last 2 weeks. I think I posted about it on Twitter about the 1992 variant Walt for my wife because that's the year of her birth. And she's always been great at supporting me and letting me do these lives and these videos and putting up with all of my VeVe and OMI ramblings. So she puts up with me, and I appreciate that. So I bought her that kind of as a long-term gift. But even then, that $5,000, if that $5,000 was put into OMI, I believe that OMI would outperform that Walt. Maybe not that Walt specifically, because it's the year that Disneyland opened as well in Paris. So maybe that one does okay. But just in general, Walt, $5,000 or $5,000 in OMI, I believe that 3 million OMI will outperform Walt long term. And you guys know how bullish I am on Walt. So hopefully that gives you some context. And shout out to Yags again for the other super chat. He says, okay, I'll wait till the end of the video. How many sets do you have? By the way, keep up the amazing work, man. You're a true asset to the community. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. So thank you for saying that. So I think I'm at, and I can actually check for you guys right now. I think I'm at, I actually haven't logged into VeVe recently. I didn't do any of the DCON drops, to be honest with you guys. They're just not necessarily my cup of tea. And I spent all of my remaining liquidity on that mint for my wife for the Walt. So I really don't have a lot of gems right now. I have $138. So putting cheeks with the $50 donation. Dude, it's not my birthday. It was for my wife's birthday, for her birthday. But thank you. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. If you want to do another donation and correct that statement, I won't complain. But seriously, man, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I don't want you guys to feel like you have to super chat. Honestly, it makes me kind of like, it makes me feel weird. Like, I really do appreciate when you guys do it, but I'm just doing this because I love you guys and love the community. So don't feel like you have to. I'll get to your messages eventually, but yeah, I mean, it's also appreciated. So thank you so much to Yags and to Pudding Cheeks. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you. And now I've lost my train of thought because stuff like that throws me off. So, oh yes, my amount of sets. So I have 110 sets, 110 comics, and 562 collectibles. So that's my account right now. Like I said, I don't go on as much now as I did previously. But at the same time, there's a lot of opportunities that are going to be coming up. And maybe that's a good segue to one of the other things that were discussed in the David U AMA. So we'll bring that up quickly. So David mentioned targeted marketing is going to be coming out starting in Q4 and going into 2023, where they're going to be targeting the specific fandoms that already exist on the platform, specifically Disney, Star Wars, and Marvel. So they're looking to target the big IP that they already have on the platform and really roll out targeted marketing campaigns to these fans to onboard them onto the platform. And I really like the way that they're going about this. They've acknowledged up until this point that they have not done any marketing. And I know some people have been okay with it. Some people have been very vocally against the fact that they have not been doing it because it hasn't produced as much growth as they were hoping it would have. But at the same time, I feel like there really is method to the madness on this one. And I'm really noticing that they are doing things in a very logical manner. So the new... Oh, Puddin. Okay. The targeted marketing. I feel like, have you guys ever seen Wolf of Wall Street? And when Margot Robbie is sitting on the ground with her legs in a position, and then Leo looks at her and she goes, "I'm not wearing any." And I don't know if I can say that word on YouTube, and then he gets all like flustered. That's how I feel right now. So, thank you again, Puddin, for the other $50 donation. I really appreciate it. So thank you. That was the best analogy I could come up with how I was feeling at the time. So targeted marketing. Where were we? So when they're doing targeted marketing, they're really going to be targeting those users that we already have, on the platform, but also bringing in new users. So obviously we know Star Wars fan base is absolutely massive, and they're the people that we want to bring onto the platform. So he mentioned specifically, we're going to be receiving new Star Wars and new Star Trek drops that are coming out over the next kind of month or so. And they're going to be vehicles. Now, of course, we know probably for Star Trek, it's going to be, a ship or something. But for Star Wars, it could be a pod racer, it could be an X-Wing. And I can't wait to see the animations that come along with that. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And I think the fact that they emphasize specifically that they're focusing on vehicles as kind of a vertical over the next little while leads me to believe that the ability to use these items will be coming soon as well. And what I mean by that, obviously, is the first iteration of the VeVeverse and being able to drive your vehicles around in AR and experience those different types of things. That's for another conversation because I have that further down on the list, but happy to see that targeted marketing is starting to happen and that they will be rolling out those campaigns in order to focus on these specific groups of people to really bring them into the platform. And this is how we start to experience that growth. And when he says growth, and one of the interesting things that he brought up, probably the most bullish thing that got me excited out of everything in the video, and there was tons of things, David said, we're not aiming for 1 million users. We're not aiming for 1 to 2 million users. We're aiming to have 50 to 100 million users. And this was in response to a question about how there's multiple drop poses that come out. And when an FA of something comes out, it comes out in 5 poses, and people were upset because they feel like the comments are constantly going undervalue. The demand maybe isn't what we originally thought it was back in January and February. As we know, kind of macro financial factors have come into place where people probably don't have as much disposable income to spend on these items. So what they're doing is they're now only doing like single edition runs or whatever. And they said that it's been a tough balance for them because they want to make sure if they're releasing an FA character such as Darth Vader, well, if they're targeting 50 to 100 million users in the next 3 to 5 years as their goal, he didn't give that time frame. I'm giving that. But, long-term targeting 50 to 100 million users, if you only have 10,000 of something, how is anyone going to own one? And I think that that's what we need to realize when we're really considering some of these things when it comes to VeVe is not everything is going to be valuable. There will be some items that you purchase that just aren't valuable because the IP isn't super strong or the fandom isn't there for it. But for certain things, even with something that has, 25,000 editions like Darth Vader, well, if there's 2 million Star Wars fans that come onto the app, how many of them can own that item? 1 out of every 40? And that's where you're going to start to see these real price increases, right? And that's just off of 2 million users. That's not off of 50 million users or 100 million users. So they said when they're doing this, especially with FAs, you have to remember that these need to withstand the test of time. For us, we're looking at this and going, well, it went up to $10,000 or $50,000 in January, and then it went all the way back down. It was worthless. Why are you releasing these items now that aren't going up in value? They're staying, at retail price or going below it. This is ridiculous. Well, because the demand's not there for it yet. When Pokemon cards came out in 1992, how many people were putting them in sleeves to really take care of the good first edition cards that were coming out? There wasn't enough demand for it. People didn't look at it as the collector's value item that it did become over time. So people didn't take good care of it. So a lot of people right now are letting a lot of collectibles go below retail because they don't see the value in it. Perfect example, Spider-Man Common, 32,000 editions that was released last year. In January, it went up to $1,200 a collectible, and it had 32,000 editions. Now, mind you, right now, I think it's close to 250, 300. But if you guys were here last year, you'll remember that the Common was under retail for almost a month. And then look what happened to it at 32,000 editions. If you guys don't think that that's going to happen again, when we get our next major marketing push, when MCP comes out, when the VeVeverse comes out and you have utility and ability to use these collectibles, when you have interoperability and you can move them to other platforms, then I don't know what to tell you. But all I would suggest is that you strongly consider looking at the future value of these collectibles rather than what they mean to you in the short term, because it does not mean that long term they could not go up a lot more in value. All Track Gaming says the color was cool. We just didn't like the model. A Marvel Red Black Panther would be sweet. Yeah, I agree as well. David did mention that they're not going to do the red variant for all Marvel drops. I don't know that this was the best one that they could have chosen, but it's interesting. So Truck and Hank says great content as always. Thanks, Foster. Thank you, Truck and Hank. I appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by. What else? When Harry Potter. Molly Dogra says, can you please explain OMI sell pressure? Trevor in Spaces mentioned that OMI utility with VeVe will create sell pressure, which will impact OMI price. And listening to him, he didn't have a positive outlook. I like Trevor. I've had a cordial relationship with Trevor for a while now. For those of you that don't know who Trevor Dietz is, he was the lead content producer at VeVe last year. And then he left early in 2022 to pursue Tomorrowland NFT and other opportunities that he believed better suited his experience and things that he was more passionate about. So no hard feelings against Trevor. A lot of the OGs will remember Trevor. Trevor spends a lot of time talking in Twitter Spaces about OMI and VeVe. Probably spending more time talking about OMI and VeVe now than he did when he was on the team, which I always found funny, but here nor there. OMI utility creates sell pressure on the token if you're using OMI and you need to sell the OMI in order to pay back costs. So as a perfect example, the reason that we will never see OMI sales in the primary market is because VeVe needs to pay that revenue to licensors, to their own staff, et cetera, keep the lights on. So they could not do OMI drops in the primary market, because if they did a $2 million drop and everyone used OMI, well, now they have to take that $2 million and sell it at market price in order to recoup those costs, which then puts sell pressure on the token. So I think that might be what Trevor's referring to, which is why we'll only ever be able to use gems in the primary market. But we've seen concepts like crypto to gem, OMI to NFT, and these things teased. And I do believe that the team will have a workaround for that in the secondary market. So in the primary market, not an issue. Trevor may have been referring to that, but that's not an issue at all. In the secondary market, where it becomes an issue is you buy a collectible in OMI from someone, but we still have to pay licensor fees and we still have to pay VeVe fees. So that could be anywhere between 2.5% and 8.5% if you're buying a Disney collectible. So let's say you buy a Walt for $10,000 from someone, $850 of that $10,000 goes to fees. So now VeVe has to come up with $850. $250 goes to them, $600 goes to Disney. Where do they get that $600 from? if OMI is being used to transact in the secondary market, well, they then have to market sell that OMI in order to recoup those costs. Now, I do believe that they will likely have workarounds for this, whether it be, I don't know, like a liquidity provider or something maybe, or a way to like I said, OMI to like crypto to gem or OMI to gem or something to convert for those fees. There will likely be a workaround. There may be a small amount of sell pressure, but you also have to remember that will almost entirely be negated by the associated buy pressure that comes along with it. Because if you're using OMI to buy a collectible and you don't already own OMI, then you're going to an exchange to buy OMI to bring it onto VeVe in order to buy that collectible. So I do believe that with burns that are likely to happen with OMI from transactions that take place, it will likely almost entirely offset any burn pressure that we would experience regardless. And as more demand comes for the token, things like staking come into place as well. I'm sure there'll be other utilities and use cases that increase the value proposition of OMI to the point at which minor amounts of sell pressure will not drastically impact the cost of the token. And as a perfect example of that, the business development fund for OMI is actually locked out of the circulating supply currently, which is why the max supply is approximately 312 billion, but there's only 268 billion in circulation. There's about 42 billion of the business development fund that is currently locked out of circulation, and you don't see OMI regularly selling that down, or Ecomi selling that down in order to recoup costs or deal with things. They have it there as a contingency, but they're obviously making more than enough money from the drops that we're doing and the fees that they're recouping in the secondary market in order to pay for licensors, pay for their staff, etc. So I'm not particularly concerned about it. I hope that helps explain your question, but I wouldn't put a lot of weight behind Trevor's concerns in that regard. Hendizel says, my stance is not to have tunnel vision, but be vigilant if you believe, and if you believe, that's that. I agree as well. I think being educated is a really intangible part of anyone's investment. And I do notice regularly when I'm interacting with people on social media, it's very clear where the divide takes place between people that are educated and not educated on their investment. People that are educated will provide suggestions or feedback to look to have improvements. And then people that aren't educated on their feedback will just call OMI a bad investment, but have nothing really to substantiate it with. And you can generally tell those people. And I try to give more time to the people that have that value. But yes. Carlos says, I have 19 million OMI. More. Started with 14. Now he has 7. He said half. No, I didn't sell OMI. Don't you dare start that rumor, Puddin. You donated money, so I'll let you slide, but don't make me put you on timeout. Ed says, constructive criticism. I'm an artist. I'm very visual. You're very, very overexposed. Oh, interesting. Paint back wall dark. Ask Andre Drix soft lighting and put a light in the background. Love yourself. I do love myself. Thank you. I don't know if you're trying to say love you and it auto-corrected, but I do love myself. So thank you. Okay, interesting. You know what? I'm going to thank you for that, Ed. I appreciate that. Can you convince my wife is the good question, but thank you. Dan, more than 20 million. Dollar cost average before 0.0052, Justin. Too much lighting, the camera can't hang. I have like a good Logitech camera too. You would think it'd be fine. I have this really old camera that I probably should use, but this is the as I break everything. I have this camera. I thought it was decent, but maybe not. Anyways, here nor there. The brightness is turned down all the way. It only, like, I have it on 1% brightness and 3,200 lumens or whatever, which is the lowest setting on these lights. Jake, lots of great news is coming out. Lots indeed. Morgan Freeman says, Foster the friendly ghost. Not what I'm going for, guys. You're really, okay, you're stressing me out. I'm going to turn off a light here. Give me a second. I don't know if that fixed it, but we're gonna go with it for now. It might create shadowing, but we'll go with that. Superstar Money says, "Hey Brock, thanks for the live stream." You guys, man, you guys giving away all of the national secrets here. What's going on? Steven says, wasn't there supposed to be a surprise last DCON artist? I heard that there might have been. For all we know, the announcement may have come out in the last little while. I'm not really sure, but I didn't hear of any surprises coming out at the end. So that's a good point. But no, I haven't heard of anything yet. So All Check Amy says, I believe we all got here for a specific reason. I believe in everyone here. I think we're just earlier than we originally thought. Be patient, stack cash, watch markets. Completely agree. Find your entry that you're comfortable with, load up, and then hold, and you can't go wrong, right? You don't lose any money unless you sell. So I'm not particularly worried about that. I was actually at my dad's house last night, and he was giving me a little bit of a lecture because I told him to buy OMI last year. And he said, why didn't you tell me to buy OMI now instead of last year? I said, I am telling you to buy OMI now because I can say that because he's my dad. I don't know if he's going to do it or not, but we'll see. So that's where I'm at with things. Andy says Virtua looks far ahead compared to VeVe. They already doing land sale, rewarding prestige holder. What's your thoughts? I think Virtua was a cool project. I bought some land. I bought 3 plots of land and 3 condos. It cost me about $1,500 worth of ADA. So Cardano, because that's what it's built on, the Cardano blockchain. It seems like a cool concept. I'll be honest with you, I don't keep up with it intimately because I do my best to keep up with OMI as best as I can. So I'm not really sure everything that they have going for them. I know that they were doing rewards for people that had minted land, but I didn't see the announcement in time, and they haven't opened up the next mint window. So I'm not entirely sure. They actually did reach out to me and asked if I wanted to do like a paid promotion of that. And so we'll see if that happens at some point. Like I said, I think it's a cool project, and I bought $1,500 of land myself before they reached out to me. So I don't feel like it's shilling so much, but once again, I would have to do more research on it myself before I felt comfortable kind of advertising it to everyone else. But it is cool. I'm excited that they've done the land sale, and I'm curious to see what they'll come out with next. So I'll be keeping my eyes out for that. So Lele says, interested to know what you think about selling collectibles at a loss to reposition into different NFTs or OMI. I guess it's all about opportunity cost. 100%. You nailed that. You hit the nail on the head, guys. I'm struggling right now. Yeah, it really depends what your comfort level is and where you're at with things, what your entry cost was for the collectible, what you think that collectible will do in the interim when you're repositioning, any fees or anything that are associated with it. You know, you could also be doing it for tax loss harvesting purposes as well, which could be beneficial for you as we come into the end of the year. So I think these are all considerations that you would need to take, and it's very individual based on your circumstance. For me, if the collectibles pump before OMI, which definitely is a possibility, I will likely look at liquidating some of my collection into OMI. I won't sell all of my collection. I'll keep a lot of the golden moments and a lot of other stuff that I own, but some other stuff, like I don't need 110 sets. I've been earning master collector points retroactively for the last year and a half. So, I think I'll be okay positioned for everything that's to come. And I just, like I said, for me, I feel like OMI is a better opportunity because I understand OMI and I don't have to constantly keep up with what's happening with it versus with VeVe. I feel like you constantly, and that's part of the reason that I associated myself with the Ecomi wiki, is that if I want to stand any chance of keeping up what's going on in my VeVe investment, I need the charts, I need the algorithms, I need the lines, everything. I need all of that. I need to be able to set price alerts. I need to be able to set these different levels. And these are all things that we're putting together and working on for the community so that you guys can all benefit from those opportunities. So for me, OMI's simpler. But if you're looking for the greatest opportunities, like I would say you could probably make more money flipping VeVe collectibles than you could OMI in the short term. But at the same time, it's really up to your comfort level. Mr. Locknet says, how do I get rich quick with VeVe NFTs? You land a really, really rare collectible on the drop, and then you immediately sell it for a bunch of money. Perfect example, you land an Amazing Fantasy 15 secret rare comic book for $20, and then you sell it for $18,000. That's how you get rich quickly. Other than that, I have absolutely no idea because I either sell too early or don't sell at all. So I'm the wrong person to ask. Mariano says, Puddin' Cheeks, my birthday is October 22nd. Oh, there you go, Puddin'. You're going to have to start reaching into that OMI bank of yours, I think, to, to pay. Dan Chabelle in the chat. Shout out. Guys, I just realized I'm like 20 minutes late on chats. I apologize. I'll try and catch up here. Good to see you, Dan. Little Coin Wizard. Bob Sales, good to see you, man. Ted says my bag is down 75%. Yeah, Ted. I mean, my bag's down definitely a little bit too. There's no, two ways about it. If you believe in the project, you dollar cost average in, you get yourself a better position and take advantage of the opportunities. If you're not really sure where you're sitting, then you hold the bag that you have and hope for the best. And if you're not at all confident and believe you made a mistake, then you sell and suck up the loss, I guess, is the best way to put it. Long story short, what I'm doing personally is holding. So that's all I can say about that. Hope it turns around for you soon. Jojo says, I need Puddin', Brock, and Dr. Profit in the same stream. Somebody set that up, please. I would love to see that as well, because if Puddin's any indication of the donations that I would receive in that stream, I think that I would I'd be doing pretty well for myself. So maybe we'll have to set that up. Says I wrecked him. You did. I was a little flustered, but I've recouped my my composure now, so you can't. And then Steven, you remember that scene. Nice. Naruto, I think Randy's streams are fantastic. I think, to be fair to him, he does them every single day. So there's really only so much substance that you can provide on a daily basis for people. There's only so much going on, especially in the bear market right now. But he's the single hardest worker of every content creator on VeVe, hands down, no doubt. I consider him a friend, and I greatly admire his work ethic and everything that he does for the community. If you don't think his streams are valuable to you personally, then maybe you just don't watch him. But, he does interview a lot of people in the community, gets a lot of feedback from people, and he lets you know kind of what's going in and day out. So that's what I'll say about that. I think Randy's fantastic, and I love what he does. He keeps the energy up, and for the people that do watch him, and for the people that support him, they love that he's live all the time. So I really love Randy. I wish I had his work ethic, because he's an absolute beast. So I hope he continues to do what he's doing. So. And Steven kind of seconds that. You must be watching the wrong Randy. Yeah, Randy's awesome. Dan says Randy crushes it. Hardest working non-VeVe employee. 100%. I 100% agree with you guys. And once again, that's the great thing about this community, right? Someone said I sound like Kermit the Frog earlier. I thought it was funny, but maybe you guys can't stand the sound of my voice. So you're like, hey, I'm not going to listen to this guy. Totally okay. Absolutely nothing wrong with it, right? Maybe you really like watching Cavell content because he gets you hyped up. Maybe you like watching VeVe Vault because you really like his streaming content. Maybe you like watching Sleep in Comics or Comics in Crypto because they crush the information that you're looking for. It doesn't matter. There's like 100 different content creators that exist right now, and there's more and more popping up every single day. So you'll find someone that you gel with, and those are the people that you're going to watch and you're going to associate yourself with. I'm extremely grateful that over the last year, I've developed a lot of the relationships that I've had and received the support from a lot of the people that I've received support from. So I have absolutely no complaints. The fact that I never thought I'd have a YouTube channel that has almost 7,000 subscribers, like that's absolutely crazy to me. So, you find the people that you like, whether they have no subscribers, all the subscribers, it really doesn't matter. Just know that everyone brings value in their own way, and the people that find it valuable will come. Talking about renting, because renting was one of the aspects, talking about when we're talking about user goals and talking about having so many items and not being able to acquire them. Renting will be a huge catalyst, like Steven says, absolute game changer. It's going to be the only way that you can use items, because without the ability to buy an item yourself, if the utility is, hey, you need an R2D2 to do XYZ in the metaverse, then you're going to rent that item because you want to make sure that you can participate in that event, right? So these are the things that people need to consider, is that renting will be a huge utility for sure. And like Dan says, if everyone could own one, renting wouldn't be a part of the OMI utility program. 100% agree with you, right? There's a value proposition behind being able to rent collectibles, which is also one of the reasons that I'll probably hold most of the collectibles that I have now. So, Mariano says, guys, retweet the stream. Tell people they have to join. We are closer to the 100 watching. Yeah. Like I said, guys, we get to 100. I'll tell you how much OMI I have. So we'll see. Tell your friends. So, Steven says, thinking about last year hurts my soul. I think this is a good conversation to have as well, too, right, guys? Like, I think a lot of people got wrecked over the last year. I mean, myself included. Like I said, I'm definitely down on my OMI investment, and my VeVe investment's down $250,000 since its all-time high, which, I say nonchalantly, but I can't even get a functional webcam and a ring light. Like, obviously, I'm not a kind of guy that doesn't think that $250,000 is life-changing money. But at the same time, it's still the long-term outlook. And that's really always what I've preached to people and what I've focused on. And you guys can call me like a helpless moon boy or whatever you want. But realistically, like I said, if you have a goal and you stick to it, then you got to believe that you're going to be able to achieve it. So I believe that I'm going to be able to achieve the goals that I've set out for myself. So the things kind of in between don't really stress me out too much. Like, yeah, it sucks that things are down and they could be higher, but realistically, if you see the direction of the way that things are moving, then you're not particularly concerned about it, or at least I'm not. So we need 100 doctor profits. If we had 100 doctor profits, I have absolutely no idea where this platform would be. We would already be renting because no one would be able to afford anything. I think one day he will reveal the full extent of his collection to the public, and we're in for a treat on that one. That's for sure. Let me say that much. So Mike says, love the collectibles, but I want freedom. So it's all in on OMI. 100%, Mike. Couldn't agree with you more. OMI to me is just the better play, right? And the reason for that, and I haven't mentioned it yet in this stream, I've mentioned it in previous streams, but I'll kind of give just a very brief kind of perspective as to why that's important. If you have $10,000 worth of OMI and OMI 10Xs, you now have $100,000 worth of OMI. If you have a Spider-Man Secret Rare that's $10,000 and at 10Xs, you now have a Spider-Man worth $100,000. But the problem becomes, if you sell that Spider-Man, you now have money, but you don't have the Spider-Man. You can't sell part of the Spider-Man, and is it liquid at that $100,000 price point? What's the demand for it? Whereas with OMI, if you have $100,000 and you want to sell 10% of it because you want to go into other ventures, pick up other collectibles, invest in other platforms, etc., there's almost no circumstance in which you're not going to be able to liquidate that, right? So this is why it's important. As people look at it and they go, well, that's not true. Collectibles can go up to whatever. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But who's buying it at that level? And that's what you need to remember. Like, if OMI 100Xs and I have $10 million or whatever, great. I can liquidate that over a period of 2 months, no problem. And especially then when we have major exchange listings and more people are buying, I could probably liquidate it in a day or less, right? But if I have a $500,000 Walt and I put it up for sale for $500,000, is it going to sell like that? Probably not, right? So these are the things that you need to consider as well. Is having collectibles is fantastic. I own a bunch of collectibles, but if you're looking for the greatest opportunity to be able to make money but continue to diversify, that's why I went with OMI. Steven says, it's weird, though, how the team has been about the VeVeverse. They haven't addressed anything about it in some time now. They have and they haven't. That's one of the things that I was going to talk about on my list. So the improved showroom is the first stage of the VeVeverse. So they've mentioned this a couple times in different AMAs. I know it's a little bit confusing because VeVe has changed kind of their marketing tactic when it comes to over-promising and then under-delivering versus they've employed what Dan Schaubel likes to say, surprise and delight. So they don't necessarily tell you everything that's coming, and then they drop it, right? So we knew cash out was coming with MTL, and then out of nowhere they're like, oh yeah, you can also cash out in crypto. Everyone's like, oh, what? Like, we didn't know that was coming, right? Surprise and delight, right? Like, delivering on more than what you promised for is absolutely fantastic. It's the way that they should employ things. So we know that Dan Carruthers just talked about the first iteration of the VeVeverse will be an extension of your showroom. It'll be your house. It'll be where you can store your collectibles. And this is where accessories are going to come into play, right? So you're going to be able to buy couches and lamps and shelves and all of these different things. And you can be able to deck out your showroom. And then people are going to be able to probably come into your showroom, check out your collectibles, see your mint numbers, see all of that stuff. So that's going to be the first kind of iteration of what the VeVeverse is. When people envision the VeVeverse, they're like, oh, it's going to be like a full-fledged metaverse. I'm going to be in Fortnite and building buildings and doing all this stuff. And like, that's not what it's going to be, at least not initially, right? So these are the things that you guys need to be mindful of, is just it's expectation setting. Because if you set your expectations sky high, you're really just going to set yourself up for failure. So have those realistic expectations. Yes, we're going to get the first edition of the showroom. Do we know exactly when it's coming? No. Dan has said that it looks awesome, and they're implying that it seems to be ready to come out kind of hashtag soon. But whenever it comes out, it comes out. There's some other really exciting features that we have to look forward to and be excited about. in Q3 and leading into Q4. So those are the things that I'm choosing to focus on. And when those other things come, they'll come, and hopefully they beat our expectations. Puddin says Trevor knows nothing about OMI. I tend to agree with that. Like I said, he hasn't been affiliated with the project in over 6 months. And he was on the VeVe side. So I don't think that he would know things related to OMI. So I wouldn't really worry about sell pressure as a concern with that. So Jojo says, I want to see OMI drop to triple zeros just to see the reserve wallet depleted. Probably not going to happen though. It's funny because I totally agree with you, Jojo. And it's like one of those like first world problems to have. People will be like, you want your investment to go down? And I'm like, yeah, like it really doesn't bother me, right? Because the more OMI that we burn now, the more benefit that it gives to all of us later. So it's kind of like one of those things. If you're a day trader, you cringe when you hear that statement. But realistically, it gives me a lower buy-in point to dollar cost average. It burns more OMI, which means it benefits everyone in the community, which I think is fantastic. Because if we're on this journey together, we may as well see all of us succeed instead of a lot of projects where, like I said, it's, hey, you buy into this now. I bought into it earlier. And then if you get your buddy to buy in, then we can get out and dump all of it on their head. And that's not what we want. So Molly says prediction, you have 27 million OMI. I had 27 million OMI at one point. I may have more than 27 million OMI now. So keep guessing, but good guess. Mike says 20 million away from my OMI goal. I feel like I need to get bag filled by third week of September. Specific goal, but I absolutely like it. You know, got some time to dollar cost average. We're curious what your total goal is. If 20 million away is your goal, are you at 1 million and then your goal is 20 million or what's your goal? I think it's always good to have goals. So I'm always curious to hear what other people's goals are. So Jake says, Foster, do you have any tips on building generational wealth and or money management tips? No, Jake, mostly because this is my first kind of major investment that I've ever made in myself. So I don't feel like I have the expertise or qualifications to make comments on that. What I will say is the way that I'm investing is probably not the traditional way that you should invest. I'm very much all in on one project. And then my diversification is being involved in the collectibles, which is just another aspect of the same project. So, you know, generally conventional wisdom would dictate that you diversify your portfolio, not just among different assets within a class, but amongst different asset classes, right? For me, the way that I look at it for myself is the amount of money that I've invested. If it was to go to zero, I'll still be able to live my life. I'll still be able to pay my bills. But I'm also not looking for a 6% return a year like you would get on the stock market. So if you're looking for a surefire, you know, whatever, invest diverse, right? For me, this is one of those, it's either going to 50x from where we're at now, or it's not going to do anything. Like there's not really any in between on how I view it, which is not how I recommend that anyone invest, right? Because that's very, very high risk tolerance. But I'm 31. My wife has a good job. I have a good job. We have a roof over our head. We're very fortunate. So I could afford to take that risk to make a huge difference in my life. And if it doesn't pan out, it doesn't pan out, and that's fine. But I believe in my heart of hearts that it will, which makes sticking by it and supporting everyone through it just that much easier. But that's kind of what I would say on that. I don't want to kind of guide you down the wrong path, which is why I always tell people, like, I'm never going to tell you to buy OMI. I think OMI is undervalued, so I buy more OMI. But if you don't want to buy OMI, don't buy OMI. Like that's totally okay, right? VeVe is the thing that will be successful, that will make OMI successful. And I don't need to convince any of you guys to buy VeVe collectibles either, because the IPs associated with those brands are going to be the things that bring people in. No one in this chat, unless Dr. Profit is lurking somewhere, is going to be that person that sweeps everything. I don't need to worry about that, right? But there is someone out there right now that doesn't know about this project, that's just waiting for an opportunity like this. And I'm very grateful to have been in for the time that I have been and learned about the project as much as I have and had the opportunities to collect and accrue things at these points, so that when those opportunities come up for those other people, I can ride the wave with them and hopefully educate them and provide them with that information in order for them to be successful. Crazy Dan says, hey Foster, I'm more bullish on VeVe and OMI every day. This is definitely DCA and accumulation time. That's awesome, Dan. Glad to hear it. I'm right on the same page with you there, man. That's fantastic. Daniel Barry says sup. Josh says, hi, Foster. Have you got a prediction on OMI at the height of the next bull run? Not financial advice, of course. Much love and thank you for the videos from Australia. Thanks for tuning in from Australia, Josh. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Is anyone further from Ottawa, Ontario than Australia? I want you guys to Google Maps right now. Let me know if anyone else is further. I'm hoping, and this sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I'm hoping for 2 cents. And people are like, oh my God, like what? Like I thought you were going to say $1. It's possible. It's definitely possible. But once again, if I tell you $1, everyone's going to be like, he's on the dollar train. And everyone focuses on, let's hit $1 and let's do all these things. If we hit 20 cents, you're then disappointed because I told you $1. And you're like, oh, but it's still 80 cents less than what you thought we were going to be at. Like set realistic goals and expectations and then be pleasantly surprised by the outcome, right? So the reason that I say 2 cents is because 2 cents for me is a milestone in my personal life. That pays off my house and I'm mortgage free for the rest of my life. And even if OMI never does anything better than that, I don't have a mortgage. And that to me is absolutely fantastic. And so that's what I'm choosing to focus on. That's my goal. Now, if OMI hits 50 cents, absolutely fantastic. But once again, we haven't seen the OMI utility program come out yet. We haven't seen the VeVeverse come out. We don't have MCP. We don't have interoperability. We don't have the 50 to 100 million users. So it's literally impossible to predict that. But remember, just kind of based on the numbers, 2 cents would be at about a $5 billion market cap, which I think is fairly reasonable. Like Decentraland, Sandbox, like they all hit way more than that last bull run in 2021. And they're going to be much smaller projects than what VeVe has coming. So I'd say very conservatively 2 cents. And then anything above that is fantastic. But remember, 2 cents, even from the price that we're at now, is like an 18x if you were to buy in right now. Where are you going to get an 18x in the next 3 years anywhere else, right? So I think when you really look at it from that perspective, you're like, oh, hey, that's not so bad. But that's kind of what I would say, Josh, is like, let's set that, the realistic expectation. I think we can hit 2 cents. And that way, if it hits, 20 cents, we're all in Vegas partying and freaking out. So Ruben says, I sold my Secret Sprite a couple weeks ago at 19K, cashed out 5K and bought 3 million of OMI and used the rest gems for collectibles like Pride and Todd. That's awesome, Ruben. Congratulations for you. That's fantastic. I think that could be definitely a wise decision for you. It sounds like you put some money aside maybe to take some profit, pay some bills, bought some OMI, which I think is a great diversification tactic. And then to buy things like Pride and Todd as well is just further diversifying and getting your hands kind of on a lot of the different grails and different genres. I think that's fantastic, man. Congratulations to you. I'm sure you wish you sold at the peak too, though. Yeah, 100,000 would have been nice. Just be grateful you didn't sell it at 1,600. So, hey, it's still a win for sure, man. Freedom with Crypto says, thank you for this video. Thanks for tuning in for the video. I really appreciate that. All the support, like I said, goes a long way, motivates me to continue to make the content. So thank you so much, guys. Oh, Mitch is tuning in from Syria. Wow. That's a world away for sure too, man. So Australia, Syria, that's pretty cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for tuning in. What time would it be there? Oh, interesting. That's awesome. Well, thank you. Flickerbit says, guessing 38 million OMI. Getting warmer. You're getting warmer. And we're getting closer to 100 live. So, you may find out soon enough. But 38 is a good guess as well. Squidcat says, David, you said last night that they want tens of millions of users. He did. I know what that means for FAs and popular collectibles. Positions are created in these times. Exactly. Echoing basically my exact sentiment, like we were talking about earlier in the stream. It's really these opportunities that are created now. Really, when you think about it, the life-changing money is made in the bear market. And I'm learning this, and as someone who's this is my first bear market, right? And so people look at me and they're like, he's an eternal optimist, he's not realistic, whatever. But like, I surround myself with people that have been here before, people that have been in crypto since 2015, even earlier. And they've all seen this before. And they know because they've taken advantage of these opportunities. And they've been in the project since like 2018, 2019, and they're still holding. So what right do I have to complain or be upset that I didn't become a millionaire, in 18 months when they've been holding and they've been the foundation and backbone and have believed and have supported the team and have been there since the beginning. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. And that's really why I try and support the community and support the team through these times, because I really don't have anything to complain about, right? Like, I haven't lost any money because I haven't sold. I've made some money on VeVe stuff that I've had the opportunity to flip into more OMI and flip into other collectibles and build up a very substantial portfolio. I'm just very grateful. And then I have an awesome community that will support me and tunes in and contributes and chats with me and gives me their feedback and gives me ideas and tells me how I look ridiculous and like a ghost. And it's fantastic. And I just, yeah. So I think these are the times, and I've tweeted it out as well. Like, these are the times when you realize who like your real friends are and the people that are really going to make it, because anyone can be positive when everything's going up. It's super easy to, to the moon. And we've seen people hop into the community, been very positive, and then they disappear and whatever the case may be. And yeah, it's just really nice to be here now and still have a community that's so supportive and optimistic about the future. So Lee Lim says, how much OMI do you have that can pay your house? We're playing a guessing game, and we're 12 people away from you getting the answer. So we'll have to see. You'll have to see soon. Josh says 1 to 2 cents to my prediction also. Thank you for the reply, and hopefully see you in Vegas. Of course, Josh. Yeah, a little bit of a further trip for you than it is for me, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. And like I said, you set yourself for realistic expectations, and you're really not setting yourself up for failure. I think that will be a very easily achievable goal, and I do believe in my heart of hearts we will exceed it. But even if we don't, I'm at least not setting myself up for failure or disappointment. So, Mitch, it's 4:46 in the morning there. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope that you were able to get some sleep. If I'm still keeping you up, thanks for sticking with me. You're crazy. I love it. Bob Sales says UK here. Oh, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning for you as well. Thanks for hanging out with me. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Wow, 4:46 in Istanbul. It's really cool, guys. Like, I know it's weird because I'm just like a talking head on a screen, but like, sitting here and reflecting on the fact that like I'm making like relationships with people from like Istanbul, Syria, the UK, Australia. Sure, I got some Canadian homies in the chat, people from the US, all over the world. Like, it's just really cool to see how, this journey has brought us together. It's just really cool. So I just wanted to reflect on that for a moment. So thank you all for hanging out with me. I think that's fantastic. So LBM says, do you collect low mints? Not particularly. I'm not a low mint hunter. I don't know that I find like specific value in low mints specifically. Like, I know some people do, but for me, like, I don't have the available capital to kind of low mint chase. So I kind of just pick up whatever. Like I said, I picked up the Walt statue for my wife because I wanted her to be able to have it. Which was a special mint to us specifically. But other than that, I haven't been much to chase low mints. If anything, if I hit a low mint on the drop, I'll generally try and sell it for a premium and then flip it for just kind of an average mint and go from there. Speaking of flipping and stuff, I wanted to talk about one of the other things on the list, which is burning collectibles for rare items. So David teased this very interesting thing, which was the ability to take collectibles that you already own, and burn them for exclusive items. So let's say Marvel is dropping a very unique variant comic, and there's only 10 of them. You could burn 300, let's say, other commons that you own. And it doesn't have to just be comics. It could be collectibles as well. You would burn them, and they would be sent to a digital black hole, which would in turn, of course, decrease the circulating value of the remainder of those specific collectibles. And then you would gain access to this specific item. So I think that that's like a new kind of way, a new kind of tease on the one of one kind of variant that I thought was really interesting. And I'm glad that they're considering this, and they're just looking to add even more forms of utility and kind of gamification into the platform. And another thing that they're looking at doing as well is working with physical toy companies. So they've already mentioned that David said that he met with the biggest physical toy producer in the United Kingdom. He didn't name the company by name, but to hear that they're working with these companies, and then Dan Carruthers on his interview with the Paul Barron Network talking about the concept of phygital, which is the combination of physical and digital items coming together. So you would buy a physical item, and then you would get the redeemable code. We have the promo code system already built into the app, and you'd be able to get the digital version on VeVe. And I thought that was a really cool concept, that they're looking to really tie in the physicals. And then you could start thinking about, Could the Marvel Mighties come out as a physical item one day that you start buying on a regular basis? They were produced specifically for VeVe. Could we see TV shows or other things built around these items that really start to add additional value to them? So I thought it was really cool that that's something that they're considering doing. And another thing that I thought was good as well is just changing edition runs and sizes and being willing to listen to the community for the feedback of, this has too much, or we don't want multiples of this, or whatever the case may be. Like David mentioned that they're not going to do, like, for instance, with Star Trek, how they did like the 1/6 and the 1/1000th kind of blow up. They're not going to do multiple variants of just like, hey, you get different size versions. It'll just be the one that you get, which I think is good as well, because I think, especially as someone at the time was trying to complete as many sets as possible, it did kind of feel like VeVe was kind of trying to fleece you for your last dollar. Like, okay, you're just giving me the exact same thing, just in a different size. Like, why do I care about this? So I really like that they're kind of changing the way that they do business based on feedback that they take from the community. They don't always move as quick as we'd maybe like them to, but I don't think anyone can say that they don't listen to what we have to say. And they really do take it to heart. And I really do appreciate that as well. Ed says, can I connect to your StreamYard? Dude, I barely knew how to connect to my StreamYard, so I have no idea how to connect to other people. But yeah, we're gonna wrap up a few other things and then go from there. But some of the improvements that I'd like to see, because I think people think that I only ever give you one side of the coin, and so I try, and if I see a negative comment about something that someone's upset about, I'll try and address it. Same thing with things that I think VeVe can do better. I'm an eternal optimist in that I hope that long-term things go well. I'm also cognizant of the fact that sometimes things don't go as well as we hope they would. And one of the things that I'd like to see them improve on, I mean, there's a few things, but one of the things that I've specifically been focusing on recently is the information is too jumbled. They release a ton of great information, but then it's kind of on all the content creators in the community to kind of parse through the information and give it out to the community. And then some of it gets lost in translation. Some of it gets repeated incorrectly. Some people don't watch some people's channels, and there's nowhere that I can send my friends or family, like a one-stop shop, to be like, hey, here's, the last couple of weeks of updates that you need to be aware of. Here is, the roadmap that the platform is working on for the next little while. Here's everything you need to be aware of. It's almost like, hey, go check out this Medium article for this piece of information, and then check out this video at this timestamp, and then this person made a reference talking to this, and it just becomes kind of crazy. So I would like to see them come out kind of with a more clear and concise avenue to disseminate information. I think right now, one of the things that we're missing as well is that you don't even get updates for a lot of the stuff that's happening through the platform itself. So if you're a VeVe user, you're not notified that there's an AMA happening for the platform. You're not notified that, there's a drop coming. It doesn't give you the push notification. So if you don't follow VeVe on Twitter, you're missing out on 90% of the information. When cash out goes down and you don't know why it's not working, if you don't follow them on Twitter, and I don't think that Twitter should be the main thing that people are responsible for following. I do it, and I have post notifications on for VeVe, which is why you'll see me regularly comment or retweet almost immediately when they tweet anything. But at the same time, I think we need to come up with a more concise way to provide that information for people. So that's one thing that I would like to see them work on. If there's anything that you guys would like to see them focus on, or anything that you think that is maybe a shortcoming from the platform, I'd love to hear from you guys. I do talk to the team every now and again, and so I can definitely pass that feedback along. So let me know what you guys think. On the concept of crypto cash out and cash in, since we're talking about that, that's something that wasn't communicated. It was mentioned this weekend as well that they're also looking at a crypto cash in option. So you'd be able to convert, I guess, crypto into gems, presumably not OMI into gems, because gems are backed by OMI. It kind of invalidates the model. But USDT, USDC, Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe you'd be able to convert that into gems and then use that on the platform. Which I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy if and when it does come out, because that will allow people to onboard more money that maybe are, don't have access to a ton of fiat, but have been collecting in crypto for a while. Maybe you've made a lot of money on Ethereum or Bitcoin, and you'll be able to use that to get gems to use on the platform. So I think that'll be good as well. Legim says, I think you have 50 million OMI. I wish, but I'm not quite there yet. that is the next goal of mine to hit, but I'm not quite there yet. Squidcat says, Star Wars vehicles confirmed for late September. VeVe really is premium IP. There isn't really any competition at this point. We are so spoiled. We really are so spoiled. And that's what I try and remind myself and remind the community as best as I can is, just because things aren't always going as swimmingly as maybe we would like them to, name another platform that's doing it better, right? And once again, and when I name these platforms, because I'll name a couple platforms, I'm not throwing shade at them. I'm just giving you perspective, right? So Recur is an example. Everyone said Recur was going to be the VeVe killer. It's going to come out. It's going to destroy the whatever. They did a college football thing, I think, a little bit or something. And then they've done a couple cool drops. The Hello Kitty drop was cool. Their Star Trek drop didn't go so well, but they do drops once a month, right? They're kind of what VeVe was 2 years ago. I'm sure that they'll do okay with the IP that they have, but I don't think that they're really doing anything that's earth shattering or groundbreaking. Any content creators that I know that have bought Recur items, I never hear them talk about Recur. So, nothing crazy. Quid's making a bit of a resurgence right now by paying content creators to talk about them from our community. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but at the same time, they have some of their collectibles that are minted on the blockchain. Some of them are not. Their Marvel collectibles, as an example, are not minted on the blockchain. So, you would purchase a digital sticker version of the 3D premium collectible that we're getting here. So there may be some IP there that you guys may want to check out that VeVe doesn't have or hasn't dropped yet. But for the items that I truly believe will be valuable long term, I think VeVe is probably the only play. And then you look at projects kind of like HRO and stuff. I think the playing card concept was cool. I never got to check it out myself because they limited themselves to the United States and the United Kingdom, which I think was a mistake because they weren't able to onboard a lot of the rest of the world. So I never even really checked them out because I didn't have access to it. And I think, I think that hype faded a little bit. Whereas I feel like over the last 18 months, VeVe's just kept going. The train may be going uphill and it might be chugging a little harder than it needed to earlier on, but the train's still going. And I think that that's what the important thing is. We still have that momentum. And once we hit that crescent and, we just keep smooth sailing, it's just going to be easier work from there. So we're just putting in the groundwork now, building out the foundation to make sure that the application is as good as it can be in order to prepare ourselves for the success that we'll inevitably receive further on. Let's see here. Richard says, agree, centralized info is needed. Yeah. And it is something that I think the team is working on. I know that they did a tweet a couple weeks ago saying that they were looking to put a database together of content creators so people knew how to find all the content creators in one place. So I think Reese and them are working on things. But once again, centralized info is not as important to me as the OMI utility program or the master collector program or a functional search bar or crypto cash-in /crash out. So I think it's just really about prioritizing their resources. I think if you utilize all your resources to work on one or two things, you can complete those one or two things well and accomplish a goal. Whereas if you spread your resources too thin and you focus on 15 things at once, you're not going to accomplish anything in any given time frame. It's kind of like the shotgun approach where you just shoot and hope. I think that they're really hyper-focused on the things that they need to accomplish, which is why I believe that they're delivering on their timeframes, why they were able to deliver MTL and KYC in Q2 like they said that they would, and why I believe that they will deliver on the OMI utility program article in Q3, as well as the first kind of integrations of the MCP into the platform. So we'll see if that happens. If I'm wrong, then, I'll eat that and that's fine, but that's what I choose to believe. So Ted, who also believes in the project, says he may be down 75%, but will DCA the dips till the next bull run. Love to see it, Ted. Love to see it. Lynn says VeVe should have an icon for news in the web app and the mobile app. Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. And I'm sure that that's something that they will factor into the platform eventually. But once again, similar to the functional search bar, the application still functions without these items. It's more of a quality of life fix rather than life and death, which is what I equate some of these other items to. Not having a reason to collect items is a pretty big issue. Not having any utility for a token that's been around for 2 years is a big issue. So it's just stuff to be mindful of. So, but I hope we do get that a little bit. Jojo says, will crypto to gem burn any OMI? I'm assuming so. If it's a feature in the OMI utility program, presumably, I would imagine that it would burn OMI. but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I would think that they would probably charge a service fee or something that would burn OMI, right? Like, 1% or 2% or maybe 10%. Who knows? No, it's probably too much. But, hopefully if they do something like that, just to burn OMI from everyone bringing that in, I think that would be fantastic. And I agree. I want every transaction in the app to burn some amount of OMI. I don't care if the transaction's in gems. I don't care if the transaction's in OMI. I don't care if it's in IOUs, whatever you want to call it. I want it to burn OMI, because the second we start burning OMI from the circulating supply, with the rate that we've been burning it already, just with it not meaning much, it's game over at that point. Ville's also in Australia. Awesome. I'm glad to see that I have some Australian viewers. That's fantastic. I was in Australia in 2012, was in Sydney for a week. Beautiful city and gorgeous country. So thank you for tuning in. D Supreme says Recurve is a scam. The regular passes are useless for drops. Yeah, I got called out on that. I made a tweet about that last week, because some people were saying for the Hello Kitty drop, they owned a pass, but they didn't get whitelist access because they didn't have a high enough rarity pass. That kind of triggered me a little bit, because you spend $300 on a pass to mint it at the time. So what you're saying is you minted a pass for the opportunity to get a rare enough pass to get the opportunity to gain access. But if you don't have a rare enough pass, you don't get access. So what did I spend the $300 on, right? Like, I guess it still gives you access before the public, kind of. But yeah, I don't know. I guess what I will say is not all passes were built equal there. And I don't know that I like that. I think the Master Collector program that VeVe will roll out will really reward engagement and collecting from the actual user base itself, rather than just kind of a pay-to-win model, which I think kind of is not what we're looking for here. So Vil says, I've been watching you since the start. Foster, great vids. Thank you so much, Vil. I appreciate that. It, hitting just over a year on YouTube now. It's pretty incredible to see kind of how fast the time has flown. And it's been a really great opportunity. I've enjoyed making the content, and you guys know that I love doing the deep dives and running all the numbers. I really look forward to pumping out a lot of OMI related content, as that is the hyper focus that I have on my channel is OMI. So I really look forward to, once we have the OMI utility program and I can start modeling different burn cases and things that we may experience, I think that my channel will likely get a little bit more traction when that happens. And I really hope that I can give you guys the information that you guys find valuable. And when that comes out, stay tuned. I'm sure it'll be fun to do all that. Maybe we'll have Reese on the channel again, as I had him on for OUP V0.1. Maybe we'll have him on again when that's released, and it could be cool from there. So Puddin' Cheeks, who I guess got tired of donating and went and took a nap and came back, has said projects that make 10K unique items aren't looking at the bigger picture. Hard to grow your company when your goal of users is capped at 10,000. I really agree with that. I'm going to leave that up on the screen for a second, because I do want to touch on that quickly. If you cap the ability to grow, then you've basically set yourself up for failure. You're not going to succeed at that point, right? So, yes, it sucks that some of the items become a little bit oversaturated on VeVe right now because they continue to do drops. But realistically, with a lot of these 10K PFPs, it's like, how do you continue to drive engagement, right? Now, one or two of the biggest projects, Bored Apes and CryptoPunks, like, they'll continue to do that because they just have so much celebrity endorsement and they already have so much mainstream attraction and adoption. But realistically, long term, like, you've limited the ability for people to become a part of your community. Because I'm never going to be able to own a Bored Ape or a CryptoPunk. So why would I even want to associate myself with that community? Because I can't be a part of it, right? Whereas the great thing about VeVe is there's, their slogan is, whatever your fandom, VeVe has you covered. And that's always really resonated with me, is that, whatever you're interested in and whatever you're into, you're going to find people like you that are interested in the same things that you are, and that you can meet up with, whether it be in person or online, and enjoy your fandom together. And I think that's really what VeVe is about. It's about bringing people together. And that's why I know that it's going to be successful, because I saw those videos from DCON. I saw all those people rushing to get in line to get into the VeVe booth. I saw all the people standing around David while he was doing his presentation for an hour. I saw the passion that David and the team had in the project. And I'm sorry, but you're just not going to convince me that you're going to find that anywhere else. And if you genuinely do, please let me know, because I would love to check them out, because I just don't believe that this community exists anywhere else. What do you think of the names of the skateboards that dropped today? Does this have to do with a party or maps? Jimbo, can you give me the names of them? I'll be honest, like I said, I didn't go for any of the DCON drops. I actually didn't even log into my app the last 2 days because I figured I'd be tempted. So if you give me the names of that, I'll give you kind of my opinion once I know what they are. Did you try and bridge some OMI to the VeVe web app with MetaMask? Is there a video tutorial? So I have bridged OMI to and from the web app. If you look on a video on my channel once I'm done my live, it has to do with Ascendex staking. I can't remember exactly what I called it. It's like Ascendex staking is here or something. In that video, I show you how to stake and unstake your OMI. So watch that. It's the second half is staking, which obviously you don't need to worry about, but the first half of it will give you that step-by-step guide. So make sure you check that out. And that should help you out. OMI Daily Burn says we all love stickers, right? If you guys know what that's a shot at, you know. I was actually a little bit offended. Let me tell you a side story here, okay? So Quid reached out to me a couple weeks ago and just said, like, love what you do, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Got back to them like 2 weeks later and was like, thank you. Like, I appreciate it because, like, I'm not going to be bitter, right? Like, whatever, that's fine. But they never asked me to do sponsored content for them. But they were asking like a bunch of people that had like 1,000 subscribers to do sponsored content. And I'm like, what's going on here? It's like, you knew that I wasn't going to take it. But, you know, it's the thought that counts. It's like, sometimes you just want to be asked, even if you don't want to do something. It's like, hey, you want to go out tonight? Even though you know you're just going to stay home and watch TV. Like, sometimes you just want your buddy to ask you. It's kind of like that same thing. So anyways, that's how I feel about that. So Gokberg asking Puddin' Cheeks what the current user count is. Puddin' Cheeks says no clue. Yeah, I'm not really sure what it is either. I would imagine that the current user count, I think there's about 650,000 VeVe wallets that currently has a collectible in it, but I think almost 50% of them only have one collectible. So it's hard to say how many active users we have, how many, you know, of those accounts are locked up, you know, bot accounts or whatever the case may be. What I will say is check out at Rootless Girl. That's Kelly, the VeVe Fox. She puts out incredible information about all of that, and she runs all of that information in the background. Same with Bravos Assassin. He puts out great information as well. Jason Cologne puts out great information as well. You know, a bunch of great people. OMI Daily Burn, putting out the daily burn for what we have with OMI. Pyro puts out a lot of good investigations for scam and bot accounts. Puddin' Cheeks has his spreadsheet for gem purchases, and what we have in the app is, you know, a lot of really great community run resources. So really grateful for all of those people in the community for doing that. If I forgot someone, I apologize. You know that you're awesome. And yeah, really great to see all the community doing that. So Lim says Quid is not so bad. It has Sonic the Hedgehog, Transformers, Disney. Yeah, I mean, they have all of those things, but like I said, you know, for a lot of these, they're not allowed to mint them on the blockchain. So as an example, like their Marvel stuff, like they're not allowed to mint it on the blockchain, right? Like Marvel has said, you know, VeVe, you can go ahead. Quid, you're not going to mint these as NFTs. So like for certain ones of those, like they're digital stickers, and not to say that digital stickers aren't cool, but to me, a digital sticker, like if you can't prove a mutable ownership on a blockchain, owning a digital sticker is really no different than owning like a skin on Fortnite, right? Like what value does it have? I can't do anything with it. I can't resell it. I can't trade it. Whereas, you know, with these collectibles, we can not only can we prove that we own them, but we can sell them and retrade them. And actually, speaking of proving ownership, metadata was one of the other things that was on my list, and things that we should see coming out very soon. So it's almost ready to have it completely rolled out. I'm looking forward to the rollout of that because we will see all of the data that we have on the collectibles in the app right now, currently minted on the blockchain, including how many collectibles were minted, how many collectibles are still in circulation. So for collectibles that were either destroyed because they didn't get sold out, or items that are kept in bot accounts that are locked and are eventually burned, or people who voluntarily burn their collectibles for other things, we'll be able to see the real count of how many how much circulation is actually for a lot of these collectibles. And David actually mentioned one of the main bad actors from the gem exploit back in January. His account actually got blocked, and apparently it has like millions of dollars in gems on it and like hundreds, if not thousands, of collectibles. And a lot of them are like good collectibles. So we could see some of these collectibles that we already think are fairly scarce turn out that they're even more scarce because they've been locked up by bot activity and stuff. So really interesting to see what comes of that. So really excited to see the metadata come out. And of course, metadata is just one more sense of proving ownership and one more step towards interoperability. Interoperability for collectibles, improving ownership. This is a hot button topic. This is something that I've seen come up pretty recently in the community. It makes its rounds every so often. I think metadata is the first step towards proving that you own something because you can see that it's minted on the blockchain. So we at least know that we own real collectibles. But on top of that, what interoperability will allow you to do is move your collectibles between whether it be VeVe platforms internally, so to the VeVeverse, or conceivably, if it's allowed by the licensor and the team allows it, to other platforms like OpenSea, or just to store them in your MetaMask. Now, I think it's important to make some distinctions here. One is that David said a lot of the licensors have already actually given them the green light, which I hadn't realized previously. So it was very interesting to hear David say that. A lot of the licensors have already said, yeah, we trust you to navigate this new space for us. So when you're ready, let us know and we'll sign off on it. We'll give you the green light. You're good to go. But VeVe themselves believes that it's not time for that yet. And I believe there's a couple of reasons for that. One is MCP and OUP. So the main features to try and encourage people to keep the collectibles on the platform have not rolled out yet. The VeVeverse, which is the main utility for many of the collectibles, has not rolled out yet. So there's a lot of features yet that haven't been rolled out. So you don't want to incentivize people to take something off of the platform when the platform itself is not ready yet, right? You want to wait until people have all the reasons to keep it, and then you provide it for the people that want it as an option. And far less people are likely to take them off the platform. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is education. Education in the crypto space, specifically in VeVe, which is for a lot of people their first kind of entry into crypto and into NFTs. The education is not where it needs to be. So we already see people that own Bored Apes and CryptoPunks and all of these like obscure kind of NFTs that are in the space daily getting, ripped off and getting all of their NFTs stolen from their MetaMask because they clicked on a bad link. Imagine some of the friends or family or people that in the community and tell me that they're not going to lose all their collectibles the first day that this becomes available, right? So you need to have, and while it's not VeVe's responsibility, they're taking that onus on themselves to educate their community to make sure that people are aware of how to do these things. They could just flip a switch, but they haven't educated the community. They haven't put out any Medium articles. They're not telling people how to do these things correctly. And that hundreds of support tickets are going to come in where people go, hey, I lost my collectible. I need it back. And well, no, it's not on VeVe anymore. That's not how it works. If you want self-custody of an item and then it gets stolen or you lose it, it's gone. So that's one of the reasons that I actually like having my collectibles on VeVe. Now, of course, there are some negatives in that if you violate TOS or even if you get flagged as a false positive, you can temporarily lose your account, which can be stressful, especially if you have a ton of assets on there. But at the same time, there's a balance there, right? We're working with officially licensed IP. This is not the type of people that are going to rug you if you understand the team. So it's really not something that you need to worry about. And the other consideration as well that I don't think a lot of people take into account is that they assume that interoperability is going to mean full interoperability. And what I mean by that is they assume that they're going to be able to take their NFT. And for those of you guys that maybe don't understand the concept, the NFT is the non-fungible token. It's the smart contract that supports the ownership for you, that you own whatever is minted on that smart contract. So we own the smart contract, but the actual asset itself is on VeVe. The 3D collectible is supported on the servers and the tech stack of VeVe, and we can see it in the VeVe marketplace and in our showrooms because it's supported on VeVe. But if you were to take your NFT and store that smart contract in your MetaMask or bring it to another platform, you're not going to have that 3D asset because the 3D asset is not minted on the NFT. The NFT is minted on the blockchain, but the asset that it corresponds to is just on VeVe. You'll maybe get a 2D image as a placeholder, but if you're looking to take your Spider-Man that's interactive and bring it somewhere else, there's no support for that right now. That's not going to happen. You're going to have a 2D image, which sure, you could go and sell on OpenSea, but once again, if they're adding in crypto to Gem, and you can bring crypto onto the platform to buy these collectibles on VeVe, why would you be taking it off of the platform to go to OpenSea anyways, right? So there's really no logic behind it other than one, nefarious activity. People are looking to take advantage of exploits or money laundering, etc. Or two, you're a legitimate person who, doesn't trust VeVe for whatever reason, wants full self-custody of your asset. But just understand, and this is an important thing to understand, is just because you have the NFT in your wallet does not mean that you have access to that asset. It's still being supported on VeVe. And if VeVe was to go out of business, similarly to any other crypto NFT project, you would no longer have that asset and you would lose access to it. So this is why it's important when I'm invested in VeVe that I'm invested in officially licensed IP that's backed by the biggest brands in the world, and that VeVe has the correct funding and everything that they need in order to continue to support these assets. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of these NFT projects are just stored on servers somewhere. And if someone forgets to pay the bills for that servers, all those pictures are gone. And then you just have something in your wallet that's a string of numbers and letters, and it means absolutely nothing because what's associated with it doesn't mean anything. So not to scare you guys, because that's not at all what this is meant to be. I don't at all by any realm of possibility believe that that's going to happen. I have $100,000 worth of assets between mine and my wife's accounts on VeVe. I'm not at all concerned about them, but it's just something to be mindful of. If you don't fully understand NFT technology and how these things work, you ask for something, but if you fully understand it, you realize that, and once again, self-custody is important to some people, and it will always be important to some people, no matter what. And I don't take that away from anyone. But if people are asking for interoperability because they believe that they're going to be able to show off, their Spider-Man slinging from a web on OpenSea, just understand that the support is not there for that, and that's not what's going to happen. What else do we have here, guys? Let's see. Ed says, one thing I liked about the bear market was we could connect. I'm a nobody, but I've been here early. Yeah, man. We'll always be able to continue to connect. I think everyone feels like they can continue to connect. I don't think anyone in this community is well, I shouldn't say anyone because there are maybe a couple people, but I don't think anyone's going to get too big for whatever, right? Like, I think we're always going to be a community. We're always going to grow together and experience this together. And I mean, I recognize a lot of people's names that have been around forever, right? Like, I'll scroll through and be like, oh, hey, like, I haven't seen you in a while. Like, good to see you, right? So I don't think that we're ever going to get too big. So, but I guess that's individual based, case by case basis. OMI Daily Burn says, eat it, Foster. Happy birthday, I think. You and Puddin are trouble. Not every day you turn 23. I wish I was 23 because I was in better shape. And if I knew what I know now back when I was 23, I'd be a lot better off because I would have invested in OMI a lot sooner. So, yeah. Tucson. No one make fun of me if you're from Arizona. World traveler. Yes. I've been quite a few places. Australia was probably the furthest. Howie says we are all here in Australia. Yeah, beautiful Australia. Been quite a few places in Europe, Germany, Switzerland, France, Czech Republic, Austria, a couple other places, Liechtenstein, and one or two other places. Haven't been to the UK yet. Would have liked to have been able to make it out this weekend, like I said, but unfortunately life just sometimes gets in the way. Been at quite a few places in the US, mostly along the coasts, specifically the East Coast. Did a drive through Massachusetts, North Carolina, South Carolina, Maine, all that kind of stuff. I've been to Florida a few times, been to LA. I definitely, it's something that my wife and I both love to do. We love to travel and meet new people and experience new things. So it's something that I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity to do. If OMI does what I think it's going to do, I look forward to really being able to travel around and meet more of the fam at a lot of these gatherings that I think a lot of us will have the opportunities to partake in. So, yeah. Puddin says, I'm on my new game of plus 23 for the 19th time. It's a great game. Yeah, Puddin, you're a boomer, and you just need to accept it. So it is what it is. Ginferno says, howdy. Good to see you, Ginferno. Longtime subscriber. Appreciate you. Lim says, I think that to increase the value of a staking program that rewards collectors with OMI will be a hit, especially for people like us that have large collections and are here for the long hold. Yes and no. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like you were also the person that said Trevor would be concerned about, no, that was Holly. So no, that would not be a good idea. And the reason that it's not a good idea is because OMI is deflationary. That works with tokens that have like a super high amount of demand that produce yield that are super unrealistic and are popular for 1 to 2 years before they completely implode on themselves because the yield is not sustainable. Luna. it's not a good idea. And the reason that it's not a good idea, now, don't get me wrong, I hold a bunch of OMI. I'd love to get more OMI. But the reason that you'll never see it from VeVe specifically, like the reason you'll never see it as part of a staking program, A, it would be classified as a security, and then we drop 99% from where we are now. Like, think about what happened with XRP, right? So VeVe and Ecomi is always going to focus on making sure that they're regulatory compliant. So that's the first reason that you'll just never see it. I can guarantee it. And the second reason that you'll never see it is because it puts sell pressure on the token, right? So if I have 1 million tokens and you reward me 10,000 tokens a month, at the end of the year, I have 120,000 tokens. I could then sell those 120,000 tokens, but every other single person that staked 1 million OMI is going to do the same thing. So now you need 10 times the amount of people to come in and buy the token just to sustain the price at the level that it's at. So with deflationary tokenomics, what you actually want is to incentivize as many people as possible to use said token so you can actually remove it further from circulation. So what I anticipate the OMI utility program looking like is staking, which will block tokens from the circulating supply, fast tracking or a fast pass or front of the line or whatever they're calling it these days, which was on the previous article. So you could pay a certain amount of money to skip levels, which will directly burn OMI. So I see those two things coming. And then I also see them providing incentives within staking so that you want to keep your OMI locked up, because every OMI token that you stake is removed from circulation. The less circulation we have, theoretically, the more valuable every other OMI token becomes. So I see them doing that with staking. And then for burning, what they'll do is they'll give you a reason to use OMI tokens in the app to buy collectibles. And then they'll find a mechanism to burn those tokens, whether it be the VeVe fee or an additional fee or whatever they do. And then every transaction that takes place will slowly decrease the amount of tokens that are available, which in turn, theoretically, actually gives you a staking bonus in the form of almost what I refer to as a yield. And what I mean by that is you're not getting more tokens, but let's say you have 1 million tokens and the market cap is $10 million. You have, tokens 10 cents. You have 10% of the circulating supply, just for like round, easy numbers. What you could do after a year is if 10% of the circulating supply is burnt, now there's only 9 million tokens in circulation. You still own 1 million tokens, but those 1 million tokens are now 11% more valuable than they were previously, or I guess 1.1% more valuable, but you now own 11.1% of the tokens because there's less tokens relative to the amount you own. I actually did a video of that on my channel recently, so definitely go and check that out. And it's a really interesting concept where you realize that you don't actually need to be rewarded with more tokens in order to benefit from all of these features. Just holding tokens in and of itself will theoretically produce a yield, because as tokens are removed, the same amount of money exists in the space, the value of the tokens increase, and then you could sell off a percentage every so often. And that is how you're making that money, right? So kind of complicated. I don't know if I explained it the best, but I explained it better in my actual video. So definitely go and check that out. Squidcat says, how many active users, buyer trades, 1 collectible per month? That number matters. I believe that is numbers that Omi the Clown and VeVe Fox have run and have shared publicly. I think it was between 30 and 60,000. I think it was 35,000 in the last 28 days had made at least one transaction. But don't quote me on that. I would maybe go check out Omi the Clown on Twitter. He has it there somewhere. VeVe Las Vegas says, hey, Foster, enjoy your Labor Day. Cheers, bud. Thank you, man. You too. I hope you have a good Labor Day. And I hope everyone that's watching this, I know some of you are watching me into the wee hours of the morning. So I appreciate you sticking with me. We'll go through a couple more comments, and there's a few more things that I wanted to cover, and then we'll wrap it up. But Ted says, I believe your bag is around 30 million. My short-term goal is 20 million, halfway there. That's awesome, Ted. Good for you. I hope that you get there. I think you were the one that said by the 3rd week of September, so I hope that you hit it there. Definitely, I got more than 30 million, but less than 50. So kind of somewhere in between that range, but doing well for sure. I'm very fortunate to have been able to kind of up my position to where it's at currently. It just allows me to dollar cost average out sooner as price goes up. So, I can sell a little bit when we hit a couple cents and then kind of work our way up and go from there. So really looking forward to the opportunities that will afford me. And I really hope that anyone is watching this has within their means, taken advantage of those opportunities as well, and will be rewarded with them. Lim says, think about it. You will sell a collectible that is giving you a passive income while the value is increasing. Staking is a hit in my opinion. Plus it gives collectibles utility. Yes. So, I mean, collectible utility will come from many sources. And selling collectibles could give you passive income. I think what will more likely give you passive income is renting collectibles, because that is passive. If you sell a collectible, you no longer own it anymore. It's not really passive. You've just kind of removed it. But yeah, I mean, staking will be awesome, but once again, just don't expect to be rewarded with tokens, because I haven't seen the article, but I'm guaranteeing you that that's not on it, because once again, they just classified as a security. And I know that the team has always been steadfast that they will not give out more tokens. That being said, Ascendex did a promotion where you could stake tokens for 10%. I staked my OMI for 3 weeks, and then I unstaked it because the market kind of tanked and I got kind of sketched out. But I made $170 staking for that 3 weeks. So absolutely no complaints about that, right? So there will be those opportunities with maybe bigger exchanges once they're announced to have those opportunities. But through VeVe, there will be other opportunities available. So, Bob says, I got the tattoo at DCON today. I was 5 away from missing the Germain 5. It hurt. No way. Good for you, man. That's awesome. So you were one of the 18. Good for you. Puddin says Foster gave Quid the wife treatment. That's uncalled for, man. Come on now. Okay, Jimbo's got the names of the skateboards for me. So uncommon is VeVe Search Party. Lincoln Design Rares VeVe Outdoor Guide. Ultra Rares VeVe Grind. VeVe Search Party Pattern. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what those names could associate to. I mean, it's definitely possible that if they were to gain utility in the metaverse eventually, like maybe those names will associate with something, but I'm not entirely sure. That's kind of a cool name. I think I heard that the skateboards, if you got them on the drop on the day and you were at DesignerCon, the last one, last year, apparently they gave you a free physical board that matched it. I didn't know that at the time. I don't know if anyone knew it. I don't know of a single person that actually claimed one, but interesting. Richard says, I just got into Quid yesterday. Bullish small stack on classic movie posters. Dracula, Casablanca, Godfather. Allegedly, you can mint these. I haven't figured out yet. Just stacking. Cool, man. And this is the thing, right? Like at the end of the day, whether you can mint it, whether you can not mint it, whatever. Like if you find something that you think is cool and that you're willing to spend money on, that's really all that matters, right? Like people look at these types of things as competition. I really don't view it that way. I think if you see something that you enjoy and you want to be a part of, you should do that and no one should judge you for it. So that's kind of my take on that. So good for you for checking them out. Mr. Planet Profit says VeVe wants to be the go-to. They are essentially a shop of the NFTs. 100%, right? And that's really all that VeVe is. They're a marketplace for the biggest IP in the world who are all going to be releasing in the same place. And they're going to drive all their fandoms to one location. And then those fandoms are going to see other things that they like. And it's just going to create like a revolving situation where people just keep spending more and more money. It's going to be pretty incredible. And I look forward to it. VeVe's definitely the place to be for that. So Crypto to Gem changed the game for sure. Gokberg, I agree with you. Tucson says bankruptcy court would never allow your NFTs to die. I agree if you were able to find the person that was responsible for it, right? Like a lot of these projects come from non-doxed people. So if it, we see rug pulls all the time in crypto. So realistically, like if you're able to track down who those people are, like, yeah, you could possibly issue charges against them. But I mean, the difference in this case is we know who David Yu is. We know who Dan Carruthers is. We know who Reese Skellerin is. We know who Alex Gonzalez is. We know who the whole team is. We know who all the people are. So, I'm not even worried for me. I would worry for them, because if they did anything to the community, like Disney would be the one that would just crush them from existence, right? Like, could you imagine rug pulling Disney and not thinking that they're going to send 200 lawyers at you with so much like litigation? Like it'd just be disgusting. Like that to me is why I'm not worried, is because if you were able to pass all of these, like if you're able to pass like Givenchy, DC, Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, so on, I could go on forever, right? Like if all of them said like, yeah, like we've checked you out and we're fine with you, like what do we have to worry about? What are you going to find that they didn't find, right? Like, I'm sorry. We all like to think we're internet detectives, but it's just not going to be the case. Preach, brother. I guess I went off on one of my many tangents, so I did. I'm not sure what that was in relation to interoperability, maybe, but I don't remember the context. Maybe if you could fill me in a little bit, Locknet. OMI Daily Burn says, only taking NFTs off VeVe to sell to people who don't want to KYC on VeVe. Yeah, and once again, like good point. Like this is a legitimate thing that's not necessarily illegal in and of itself. People have different reasons for not wanting to KYC, right? There's the illegitimate reasons, and then there's the legitimate reasons, and that's fine. But once again, if you pull a collectible, like if I take my Walt statue, which is 3D that I can view in AR, that is beautiful color coding, everything. If I take that off the platform and I sell it on OpenSea and it's a 2D JPEG and you want to pay me money for it, that's totally fine. But what are you going to do with it once you do that, right? Like you can't use any of the features unless you're on VeVe. You can't interact in the metaverse unless you're on VeVe. So like, sure, you didn't want to KYC to get it, but then like, how are you getting like I guess in a roundabout way, like if I'm thinking about it and I'm a criminal, I'm going kind of innocently and selling it on OpenSea because I don't know any better. Criminal buys the collectible with stolen funds or something on OpenSea and then transfers it to another account who then sells it to someone else who brings it back on. Like, I really don't know. Like these things are all trackable, right? Like the blockchain is a public record. So like, I really don't know why that would be an issue. Oh, and Locknet, I just read your kind of second comment here. I don't know if that was what is this. Yeah, Andre is still in VeVe. He still has all his collectibles. He still has all of his OMI. I've seen some people give him kind of a little bit of flack for kind of only talking about the project when it's hot and stuff. And I get that perspective, like objectively, like I get it. But at the same time, like it doesn't really serve him and his audience base a lot of benefit to hype up the community right now when he's not here every day like you and I are, right? So like what benefit is like, oh hey guys, in a couple of months we're getting this, like you really need to get excited about this. Like that doesn't really serve him any benefit. Maybe once MCP and OUP come out and there's a lot of catalysts to talk about, then yeah, it makes sense to make another video, right? Because he's doing updates. But he only makes 2 videos a week and he covers all of personal finance, all of crypto, all of real estate, all of NFTs. So to just make like a random arbitrary update video, like doesn't really make a lot of sense. But yes, he's still in the project kind of behind the scenes and we still talk and stuff like that. So yes, I mean, long-term, I mean, for him, the catalysts haven't changed. He's always been, believed in the long-term vision of the project. So, if we get there, we get there. And in his mind, if we don't, we don't. But he does believe that if anyone has the potential to do it, it's this project. So, Planet Profit says 2D images will be cool. 99% of 2D images on OpenSea anyways. Yeah, and once again, like maybe for some people, like that's good enough. They want to own, whatever, mint 2222 of a collectible that's on OpenSea that's a 2D JPEG that you can't do anything with. And I think the team has acknowledged that, right? Like they've talked about interoperability for collectibles and that licensors are fine with it and it will eventually get to that point, but it doesn't, like to me, it just doesn't do much, right? So like I try and remove myself because I generally come through things through my own personal lens, but I kind of try and zoom out and be like, well, why would other people want this, right? And so I do see legitimate reasons why people would want this, and I'm sure the team sees that as well. But once again, kind of on their roadmap, they're not going to let the collectibles out until they have a reason to keep them in, right? So just kind of reiterating, once we have MCP, once we have OUP, once we have VeVeverse, once we have utility for collectibles, renting, all of that ecosystem is thriving, well then, yeah, you can open it up, whatever. But once again, why don't we wait and see how all those things unfold? And your opinion might change a little bit, right? Everyone thinks, oh, OpenSea is amazing, OpenSea is whatever. OpenSea volume has dropped 99% in the last 6 months. VeVe has more active users than OpenSea. So just remember, if you're able to bring crypto into VeVe and buy collectibles on this marketplace, VeVe's not by money right now because bigger transactions happen. Because once again, they're happening in crypto on OpenSea, but more transactions happen on VeVe than happen on OpenSea. So just remember that. Like when you think like, well, one thing is the end all to be all, when you zoom out, you realize it's not actually as important. All Chat Gaming says traveling the world makes you want more out of life. Absolutely couldn't agree more. I love traveling. It's I don't drink, I don't really party much or do anything like that. So I just love traveling and seeing new things and meeting new people and getting new experiences. Tucson, no, I haven't been to Yukon. I haven't been Northern Canada at all. I was in the Muskokas, if you know where that is, in Northern Ontario last weekend for a wedding. It was very beautiful and I enjoyed that. But no, I haven't been out there. VeVe fanboy, no, I do not own any Luna Classic. I actually jumped in on the Luna craze when Luna was like 0.0004. And I think I made like $300 because it rebounded a little bit. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm out. And then I sold it and bought more OMI. So my buddy was convinced that Luna Classic was going to do well. And he bought like $5,000 worth. And I think his $5,000 is worth like $400 now. And I'm like, oh, you should have bought OMI, man. You should have listened to me. But hey, whatever. Planet Profit says, what's coming first, MCP or OUP now? The MCP will roll out before OUP, but the OMI utility article may come out before we see MCP in the app, if that makes sense. The entire OMI utility program will likely take several months to roll out. We know that because Reese has mentioned it a few times. So the first thing that we will likely see is OMI to NFT. But then things like staking and things like that will be later priorities that they'll have to build into the app. So, but the article will come out, and then of course, similarly to how we did last time, we'll be able to give them feedback, let them know the things that we like, things that we don't like, things that we'd like them to improve on or change, and then we'll go there. We'll go from there. And Puddin' Cheek says they've literally said there won't be direct yield for staking, and I agree, and maybe I should clarify that just to make sure that everyone understands. Like, you won't get more OMI for staking OMI, but there may be other kind of roundabout ways to earn yield, which, like I kind of explained in my example, is just the supply going down and you earning yield from just holding those tokens and having it become a larger portion of the remaining supply, and ergo going up in value. So I agree with Puddin as well. There will be no direct yield in the form of staking. It may come with exchanges, but you will not see that on VeVe because of the securities concerns. All Check Gaming says, if you're rewarded with NFTs and sell NFTs that pass, oh, okay, so yeah, so if you stake and then they give you like a collectible or an accessory, or I think at one point they were talking about like a golden gem, which you could like redeem for like a drop, right? Like the golden gem's worth like $50, and then you could like go into a drop and buy it or something. Yes, that is definitely passive income, and that will be one of the main reasons that I'm going to, if it is delivered in the article, will be staking my OMI for sure. Freedom of Cryptos says, do you have any other cryptos besides OMI? I got a couple meme coins that I got into kind of back in April, May of last year. Didn't sell any of them when they went up 10x because like everyone else in the community, maybe not our community, but in crypto in general, I was a moon boy and thought everything was going to go to the moon. So I think I bought $100 worth of Safe Moon and it went up to like $2,200. I 22x my money. Didn't sell anything because all the YouTubers at the time were like, to the moon, bro. And I was like, cool. That sounds good to me. So I did that and didn't sell any of it. And I think it's worth $40 now. And I got a couple other coins like that, like Bonfire. And I had Shiba at one point, but I sold it. And then once I sold Shiba, it went like 12x after I did that. So lost out on about $12,000 on that. So wasn't happy about that. So needless to say, I'm not the best crypto trader, which is why I just buy OMI and hold it. It's very simple. Can't go wrong with it. And that's how I do it. So and this is helpful. OMI Daily Burn says, as of August 1st from OMI the Clown, wallets that did something, and then it gives you the different information. So 6 hours was like 1,600. It's kind of hard to read because it's like, okay, so 1 week was 41,000. 1 month was 81,000. So actually quite a bit more than I thought it was. I thought it was 35,000. So 81,000 active users who had done a transaction. So that's not just logging onto the app. Like, it's possible more than 81,000 people logged onto the app, but that's 81,000 that either bought or sold a collectible. So that's good. So I'd say that that's really good because, like I said, OpenSea volume has gone down 99%, and OpenSea I think only had 450,000 users. So I would say there's maybe like 10,000 people in OpenSea right now. So I mean, just as another perfect example, people are like, "Hey, we need OpenSea," but really, in some ways, OpenSea needs VeVe. So it's just, something to think about on the other side of the coin. Bob Sale says, like you said, the best bit about the event was the VeVe people from different walks of life ages, races. Nice to finally match some faces to Twitter and VeVe user account. Totally, man, 100%. And that's why I really want to try and get out to some of these events. Actually, really cool story that I don't think I've ever told, but I'd like to tell. And I don't know if Randy ever told it. We're in New York a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you guys know, but I went to New York for the weekend for an event that was canceled. I was going with my buddy Mike. We were going to see the Jake Paul fight that ended up getting canceled, but we already had the Airbnb. We had everything booked, and we're like, well, we have, we may as well go. We have the time off work. Like, let's do it. So we went up. We drove up to New York. And we met up with Randy. So we had an Airbnb, 3 of us in this like 2 double bed like situation. Randy slept on the couch. Like it was a mess. But so we're walking down one of the streets in New York. In New York, if you guys have been to New York, it's busy. Like no matter what time of day, doesn't matter if it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the morning, New York is busy. And we're walking along and Randy, like he's hungry. It's 10:30 at night. He hasn't gotten food yet. We're looking for a place to get food. And he's like, hey, I really want to get like gyro. And we're like, cool. You want to get like a food truck? You risk it for the biscuit. You do your thing. Like, I'm going to eat at a restaurant. That's fine. But Randy, the true Long Islander that he is, he's like, I'm going to do it. So we're like, cool. He gets gyro. So he's walking down the street, stuff in his face. Bear in mind, I'm wearing a VeVe shirt. I'm wearing a VeVe hat. Okay. I'm decked out in VeVe. Okay. We're walking down the street. Randy's not wearing any VeVe gear. He's wearing I don't want to call it what the slang term is. The little t-shirt. I don't want to say what it's called, but so anyways, the little tank top shirts or whatever. So he's walking down the street with that, and he's stuffing his face. So like his face is like partially covered, and we're walking, and then some guy like comes up, and I thought he was about to attack Randy. So I was like, I'm gonna have to knock this guy out. Like, what is going on here? We're about to get jumped, and so I'm in like fight mode at this point. And he goes, "Are you the real Randy Chavez?" And Randy's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Dude, I watch your stream all the time. I love you, man." And like Randy and I just look at each other and we're like, did you just get recognized in the middle of New York City by someone that like not only knows about VeVe, but watches your stream? And it was just like, it was literally surreal. So shout out to John. I don't know if you're watching my stream right now. Really cool hanging out with you that night. We hung out with Omar as well. He came out and met up with us. And the 5 of us just kind of hung out till 2 o'clock in the morning talking about VeVe. And it was just the most surreal experience. And it was funny because my buddy Mike left to go to the bathroom. And John was like, sorry, man, listen, like I recognized you too. I watched your channel too. Like I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. Like it was just so weird or whatever. I was like, don't worry about it, man. But like, do me a favor. Pretend that you didn't recognize me, because I want to like play it up with my buddy Mike, because like he's going to make fun of me and then we're going to whatever. So we play a little practical joke on my buddy about that as well. But it was just, it's just really cool to see the community and be a part of an experience like that. And it literally, like even thinking about it now, like it's giving me chills. So like, I can't wait to meet everyone in person and hang out with everyone and just have these experiences. It's pretty unreal. So glad you had that experience, Bob Sales. And I just wanted to share that little tangent there for a second. So, Kusan says, bad NFTs will die 100%. And the better ones will just continue to rise to the top. And that's why, that's my bull case. My bull case for VeVe is that, as other NFTs people lose interest, they'll look for the project that's actually going to sustain and have that longevity. And they're going to find VeVe. So Mike says total goal 100 million OMI. That's fantastic, man. Well, I hope that you get to that goal. Good luck to you. That's awesome, man, if you're able to get there. OMI daily burn. I keep calling. I was reading it. OMI burn daily. You're right. You got me. You got me on that one. That's my bad. OBD. My bad. Ian says, what's strange? Never seen you and Brock McBlockchain in the same room. Where's your mask? It must have been sent out to the cleaners. I'm not entirely sure. That's a good question, though. That is one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's replaced Stonehenge, I believe. I think if you look it up online, that is factually correct. So, just saying. Bob Sale says UK has passport issues. My account is not KYC. My passport has not arrived 4 months later. So far, normally it takes a month, but everyone wants passport after COVID for So you have to wait. So you're not able to use your account at all. You haven't been able to use your account. Are you not able to use your driver's license though? Like, I don't understand. Like, you should just be able to use a driver's license and a utility bill. So I don't know why, but that's not good. Dre says, what would VeVe Collectibles need to do? Numbers like Doge Pound and DGOD's kinds of NFT were nowhere near as much recognition. I thought those were coins. I didn't even realize those were NFTs. Yeah, I have absolutely no idea. But I mean, like I said, not every VeVe collectible is going to be valuable. And I think that that's important to understand and recognize as well. Just be mindful of what you're investing in. Not everything's going to be valuable long term. Some of the collectibles will go up a lot. Some of them won't go up at all. So just try and do the best you can with the information that you have available. Ask other people in the community. I am definitely not the collectibles expert in the community. I do the best that I can with the information I have available to me. Definitely made some missteps along the way, but like I said, I'm the OMI guy, so I'm definitely the wrong person to ask about that. But OMI Burn Daily says, saw an old Foster video where Brock's mask was in the background. Just saying. You're lying. You're a liar. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Lim says, that's a good point. I don't know that about the tokenomics. I just wish the 32K I have invested in the app will be rewarded somehow rather than having my investment just sit there. Many projects and even exchange reward the people that invest heavily in the project. Now it feels like they are taking all the profits and not offering any value to the collectibles. Yeah, I'd agree with you. There's not a lot of value to the collectibles right now than holding the collectibles. But once again, I bought this Todd McFarlane statue. I bought 12 of them. Todd McFarlane's not coming over to my house and adding value to those collectibles, right? Like, I bought these collectibles because I liked them. I do think that they're going to be valuable long-term, which is also part of the proposition, but I also like them, right? So if you're buying collectibles for the sole value proposition of it being an investment, you're going to be stressed out and there's going to be some issues associated with that, right? Which is why, I put out a little rant on Twitter the other day and I said, VeVe's not an investment app. You have the ability to invest and make money on it, surely. You can add money to it and you can make money. So that's an investment. But that's not what it's designed for. It's designed to be a collectibles app where you collect the fandoms that you enjoy and enjoy them. So the utility that will be added will be built out based on enjoying your fandoms. Now, if those come with financial benefits, then fantastic. But once again, the value proposition within the project is OMI, right? You invest in OMI because OMI is going to go up in theory based on the success of VeVe. So you collect the collectibles because you love the collectibles, and then you own OMI so that as the collectibles that you collect become more valuable over time, it decreases the amount of OMI in circulation because more people are using OMI to purchase and stake and do other items with. And that's where the actual investment comes from, right? So that's why I said long-term is an investment. I'm far more bullish on OMI than I am on VeVe. I don't think that your $32,000 will necessarily do bad things on VeVe. I mean, it depends what you invested in, right? But if you have a fairly well-diversified portfolio, you'll probably do okay on VeVe long-term. But once again, if you're waiting for VeVe to kind of just flick a switch and be like, hey, your collectibles are now worth a bunch of money now, that's really not up to VeVe. What it's going to be up to is the utility that they add, driving the user base to come and wanting to spend more money on those collectibles. So hopefully for these collectibles, with the utility that's coming, with the Master Collector program, with being able to earn collectibles or accessories or whatever is going to come, you're going to get those benefits. So I can't tell you not to stress out because it's your money and whatever. But if I was in your position, I technically kind of am. I get it. So Justin says 3D is such a turn on. 3D really is, right? Like it's just a cut above. It's better than 2D. That's just how it works, right? So if you want, a sticker or a flat image or whatever, that's totally fine. But imagine a world in which Facebook and Instagram builds in profile picture support, and you're able to actually display your collectible as a 3D rotating item or something in your profile picture. Whew, that'd be incredible. I actually just thought of that. That'd be pretty awesome. Tucson's been to Yukon. That's pretty cool. Nope, never been up there. Planet Profit says OpenSea statistics are terrible. They have more NFTs than websites on Web2. Yeah, exactly. Right? Like they've had a bunch of NFTs bought and sold there, but no one wants to use the platform anymore because most of the NFT projects that exist outside of VeVe have no term longevity, they have no community, and they have no use case. Like Puddincheek says himself, and he couldn't say it better myself, is that if you only build out a project that has 10K PFPs, you're not building a project at which you're going to build a community or any longevity, right? VeVe will withstand the test of time because all the IP that they're associated with have already withstood that test of time. So you don't need to look anywhere else because you've already seen it yourself. Disney's been around for almost 100 years. It's not just going to go anywhere because VeVe started to put out NFTs. It just adds additional benefits to people that are pursuing this new vertical, and especially when they start to tie it in with rides or experiences or whatever the case that they could do. The sky is really the limit when it comes to the pairing of these items, and I'm really looking forward to it. AR integration, which is going to be a big part, I think, as well. Just being able to display your collectibles. We saw what happened with Pokemon Go. That was 6 years ago, but we saw how many people, even when AR technology was far more archaic than it is now. Think about when Google and Apple release their AR glasses next year. You don't think that there's going to be some form of partnership or way that VeVe gets connected with them? Like, we already know, because the team has said it publicly, that they have weekly conversations with Apple. I don't think that they're just calling to ask how their weekend's been going, right? They're building something. What they're building, we don't know. David used the words going to be unreal. Could it be Unreal Engine, or could it just be that the experience itself is going to be amazing? We really don't know, but time will tell, and I'm glad that I'm going to be a part of it once it gets here. Riffosaurus says, is the Doge father still invested in OMI? He is. And the last I spoke with him, he was actually contemplating adding to his position. I haven't spoken to him in a little bit because he's the official videographer for, like, I don't even remember the rappers' names, but he's on like a tour right now with the US acting as a videographer for a couple of rappers. So I haven't talked to him recently because he's been pretty busy. He's doing shows like every single night pretty much, but he is still invested in OMI, and I do believe that he's looking to add to his position at some point before the end of the year. So, take that with a grain of salt because I haven't spoken to him in a few weeks, but I don't imagine he just would have gone out and sold it without having messaged me first or anything. So Justin says, it would be full circle if you got back on the Spidey train. It would. If you'd like to gift me one, I will let you know my wallet. Otherwise, going to have to wait a little longer for OMI to go up or for it to go down because, like I said, bought that wallet, which ate up all of my liquidity. Shout out to Chris Coffee and Crypto, one of the other YouTubers I was talking about earlier. He puts out content as well. Fun fact about Chris, he was actually the first person to ever have me on a channel to do an interview when I first became a content creator. So Chris has a soft spot in my heart because he's always supported me through my journey. And I love to see all the things that he's doing right now with everything. So thank you for stopping by, Chris. He says you have to swap SafeMoon over to V2 now. Oh, so maybe my SafeMoon is worth more. I don't know. Maybe it's because I still have the V1 stuff, and maybe it's worth more. Who knows? Justin says Baby Doge. Will not be buying that, just like I won't buy actual Doge. And I have told that to Pro the Doge to his face. I told him to sell his Doge for OMI. He didn't, which I guess I understand because it's his brand and whatever. But when I make more money on OMI than he does on Doge, then he'll be hearing about it. Let's just say that much. Jay says, hey to everyone. Thank you for stopping by, Jay. Appreciate it. Chris says there's a lot more competitors for OpenSea. To be fair, though, like 50% of the people not using it are probably using Looks, X2, Pseudo, OTC, etc. And that's a good point as well, right? There's a lot of other crypto marketplaces for NFTs that people are using, and possibly OpenSea has lost some of that market share to other platforms. Then again, I think Coinbase tried to launch an NFT platform and it kind of got laughed, right? So, not everyone is going to be successful in this space, even if you have previous recognition. So I think VeVe is really doing something special. So it's nice to see. Planet Profit says, last thing, Foster needs to stream daily, even though he don't want to be a YouTuber. Definitely not going to be a daily YouTuber. Definitely would be open to doing the lives a little bit more often, especially once utility is added for OMI. I'm sure there'll be a lot to talk about, and a lot of people have questions about staking, perks, rewards, using OMI in the app. If crypto to gem comes, if crypto cash in and cash out or whatever comes, there'll be a lot more things to talk about. But like I said, I'm more of an OMI guy than a VeVe guy. I'll talk about a lot of the VeVe stuff, but my area of expertise is really OMI. So when those opportunities come up and when there's things to focus on, I'll definitely be going live a lot more and talking about things. You guys will see that I only put out a video, once every 2 weeks or so. I've always maintained and will always continue to maintain. I don't do YouTube to make money or make a living. I do it because it's a passion and a hobby of mine, and I enjoy the community, and I hope that you guys get benefits from it. So that's why I do it. So when the information's available and it comes out, I'll obviously put it out to you guys. Otherwise, I'm kind of, I hang out on Twitter, and if you guys want to talk to me on Twitter, you know where to find me. So, yeah. Tucson says the city that never sleeps. New York truly is. VeVe underwear might be a good idea. Chris, we should talk about that. could get it branded. I don't know that I'll be the model for it, but we'll figure it out. Maybe Traps Wellington would do it. He's a good looking lad. We get Randy to model it. We have seen some modeling photos of Randy and some suggestive poses before, so I'm sure he'd be open to it. Maybe we do VeVe branded underwear. That'd be fun. We call them no, VeVe's doesn't work. I don't know. We'll figure it out later. Nick says aloha from Hawaii. Foster, where did you get your VeVe t-shirt? Hey Nick, I was in Maui and the Big Island back in February. Hawaii is beautiful. Thank you for tuning in and checking it out. Appreciate that. I got the shirt from VeVe, just like I got the sign from VeVe. They sent me a care package at some point last year, just to kind of thank me for kind of doing content and whatever. So they sent me out that, and it came with some t-shirts. It came with some stickers. It came with a card signed by David and Dan. Unfortunately, not with the promo code for a VeVe logo, because that would have been pretty cool. But I did get the physical one, so I can't complain about that. So I am very grateful. And yeah, so that's where it came from. And I do wear it a lot of the times, even when I am when I'm not streaming. And then there was a couple other shirts and things that I own that I got from Common Club Apparel. So shout out to Common Club Apparel and Smells Fun. He sent me some items a few times that I've worn with that. And then the Partners Club that I'm in as well for owning a Walt statue. I got a Partners Club sweater that I wear all the time as well. It's actually fading because I literally wear it every single day. It's ridiculous. So other than when it needs to be in the wash, and then I always put it in the dryer and then it eats it up. So got to stop doing that. But yeah, so that was the word I wasn't going to say earlier. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but if you guys were here at the time, if this is super out of context for you, we were talking about a t-shirt. So don't worry, but that was the word I was looking for. Planet Profit says Randy is the VeVe legend. 100%. He's absolutely amazing. I honestly look up to him and his work ethic and everything that he's accomplished in the space. I don't know how he does it. I've been live for 2.5 hours and my voice is basically already shot, and he does it like twice a day, every single day. So I'm very grateful for all the information that he puts out to the community. And yeah, he's fantastic. So Bob Sales, not allowed to drive, as used to have. Okay. Luckily, your wife is KYC'd, so you can hold on to that account where you just hold stuff. I mean, it's unfortunate that that's the situation that you're in, but the nice thing, I guess, at the same time is it acts as kind of like a forced savings account. So you can't liquidate anything, and considering the prices that a lot of things are at, you're forced diamond hands right now, which is basically not bad. So, sorry to hear that that's happened. Hopefully the UK sorts out your passport situation and can get it to you quickly. Chris says Instagram basically has that now, doesn't rotate, but it reflects. Oh, that's really cool. So we could eventually see that with Instagram and Twitter and things like that, profile picture verification. And then of course that will be kind of the first integration of interoperability for the collectibles. So yeah, that's exciting. Where was I here? I'm not going to talk about that because we already did. Rusty Wren says, I started VeVe early 2021 using my savings and selling 2 secret rare comics to buy other collectibles. Unemployed at the moment and don't have any of the other documents needed. Yeah, so I mean, and this is one of the issues with KYC, right? And this is one of the things that David was talking about. The issue is if you don't have certain documents, it's very difficult to KYC. So they're looking at trying to make the onboarding process easier for KYC because it is somewhat of a barrier of entry, right? If you just want to casually check out the app, you don't really want to have to go through all this documentation and figure this out. So they are working on improving that as well, but I'm sorry to hear that you're struggling with that. Durbo says, you think VeVe will allow ads on the app, maybe burn same amount of OMI from the ad revenue? Probably not on VeVe directly because there's so many licensed partners competing against one another, right? It would become an issue. Like it could become a conflict. Like you're promoting a Disney movie, but DC is like, I don't want you promoting a Disney movie right now on the app because all the collectors that are collecting DC stuff aren't going to collect my stuff and blah blah blah, like whatever. So it can be tough. So Chris, I believed in you. Yes, you did, and I appreciate you, man. So thank you for that. You claim to be able to play Rocket League better than me, which is factually incorrect. But I will say the one thing that you would be better than me at is disc golf. For those of you guys that don't know, Chris recently started a new disc golf channel. I believe that it's linked on his main channel, so go and check it out. Can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but if you guys are interested in disc golf, I recently took up disc golf a couple months ago. I've been really enjoying it, and he puts out disc golf content, and he's actually like really good. So could be something to check out. And I agree with Gokberg. Mobile ads are really annoying. I don't think that they're needed. I think that they'll have enough ways to burn OMI regardless. Coinbase did flop for sure, Chris. Riff says, can OMI be staked currently? Yes, it can. It can be staked on Ascendex, but the APR is only 1%. So given the state of the market and the amount of exchanges that have locked users out of their funds, I would not recommend it for 1%. But can it be done? Yes. Jojo says, oh, he's talking to someone else. Jake, Pro the Doge. I was just actually mentioning that. Pro the Doge is on a month-long tour with a couple of rappers who I can't remember the names of, but they're like fairly famous rappers. And he's acting as their videographer. So he's going to like different towns in the US every single night. You check out his Instagram. He posted about it a few times, but that's what he's doing right now. Bob Sales says, I agree. It had to happen. So I can't be mad at VeVe, just the passport office. Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. Those government folk, I tell you. Chris says, do I drop my David Yu recap of Waz's video tonight or tomorrow, Foster? You can drop it tonight if you want, but you know the YouTube algorithm is never friendly to people that drop things at this time of night. Plus, I just did a 2-hour recap of everything that was covered in it, so you can wait. No. So his channel is called Disc Golf News, guys. So if you like disc golf and you want to check it out, go check that out. That's what it's called. It can be a little funny to find sometimes because when you type in disc golf news, it'll just bring up news about disc golf. So you may have to look for it a little bit, but we figured it out. So KB Verse says, can't wait for those VeVe commercials advertising what David mentioned. Yes. And I don't know if you guys heard or not, a little bit of a teaser. Sometimes it's hard with David because you don't know if he's being serious or not, but he talked about a Netflix documentary coming out one day for VeVe. And people were, he said, like, it's not just gonna be a small thing. It's gonna be like 20 episodes. That could come. Like, it's not a hypothetical thing. Like, expect that something like that could actually happen one day. So that's what I'll say about that for now, because I'm sure it's still a long ways out. But yeah, a lot of interesting things happening in the background that I think will be really cool over the years to be able to look back at and be grateful to be a part of. So yeah, that's what I'll say about that. Chris says, I'll recap your recap. You recapped an hour-long video into 2 hours. Well, yeah, because I knew Cavell was going to make 10 videos about it. So I figure if I did one recap, then Cavell could just react to my 2.5-hour video, and then he could make 20 hours of content, and I'd be helping him out. So, just trying to look out for the fam. You know how I am. Disc golf is a super cool sport for sure. And yeah, 20 episodes. So I'll wrap up with a few more things, guys, because I'm starting to lose my voice here a little bit. Like I said, I don't know how Randy does it. Facial recognition for drops and cash out is something that I would really like to see. So this is kind of just like a last minute recommendation that I'm throwing out to you guys. I think one of the issues that they're going to constantly run into is the ability to negate bad actors, right? And so adding in tools to try and detect bots, which obviously didn't work as well as we hoped it would. Adding in a CAPTCHA system, didn't really work. Adding KYC, people buy fake KYC accounts. The way to kind of beat all of this in kind of probably the least intrusive manner is to have facial recognition. So whether you go for a drop or whether you're doing cash out, using Face ID. Because realistically, you use Face ID to log into your phone all the time anyways. I feel like, unless you have a phone that's 15 years old, you have Face ID, right? So if you could build that in, if someone went to do a cash out and you have, and I'm not saying this because this is where they come from or anything, but as an example, you have a KYC account from India and you live in the US, chances are the photo of the person that you got from India that KYC'd your account probably doesn't look like you, right? So if you use facial recognition and it is comparing it to the photo that you KYC'd your account for, because once again, you should only be cashing out on an account that you own, then it would just completely solve that issue entirely. Now, is there ways to circumvent facial recognition? Possibly. I have no idea. I'm not a tech expert, but I feel like facial recognition is not, it's not too cumbersome. right? Like it's not an inconvenience. And it also stops little things like multi-accounting. So you can't use more than one account at the same time because, of course, you can only KYC one person per account. So like as an example, I couldn't use my account, my wife's account, my cousin's account, my aunt's account all by myself trying to do drops because I couldn't verify my face on all those accounts. So something like that I think would be a really cool option that they could integrate. There are companies that do provide these services. So I would like to see them consider something like that. So I think that wouldn't be, the only real issue that I see it coming is if you're using the web app, because not everyone has a desktop that has a camera, let's say, per se. So that would be, hardware that you would have to purchase in order to utilize that, which is a barrier to entry. And of course, the web app is where chances are you're going to be cashing out, and you're going to be doing that not on your phone. You're going to be doing it on a computer probably, right? So there would need to be a workaround put in place for that. But just extra things, right? Like, so even things like 2FA to a mobile phone number, you can subscribe to services that will generate phone numbers for you. And when those codes are sent, it will give them to you. So you could still be a botter with 100 accounts and still circumvent that. So I see facial recognition as being something that would really combat a lot of the issues that we're experiencing. And I really don't feel like me holding up my phone and going like this for a second is really that much of an inconvenience to my life, right? I'm sure people will find a reason to complain about it and whatever, but that is a suggestion that I've thought of. So something that you guys can consider and something that I'm curious to hear your thoughts about as well. And then just the final thing, the thing that I'm really looking forward to in the next little while is just MCP and OUP. We've talked about it a few times today throughout our time here together. And I'm just really looking forward to the rest of Q3. I put out a video, saying we have 40 days left. And that was to imply we have 40 days left until the end of the third quarter when these catalysts are delivered. And I'm really looking forward to the next stages that will come once those things come. I think you're going to really see a shift in the mentality of the community when these things are delivered. And I'm going to be really excited to see how we can use that as a springboard to move towards further catalysts as time goes on. So looking forward to that and just all the things that are to come. So thank you for sticking with me through the 2 hours and 40 minutes that I was live. I think we averaged like 70 people the whole time, which is fantastic. For those of you that stuck around to the end, I'm not going to punish you any further. I appreciate everyone sticking around for as long as you did. I have just over 40 million OMI. I will be making a video about it at some point. I am very grateful to be in this position currently and to have been able to essentially 3x my position from where I was previously. I likely will make a video on it at some point, talking about kind of my journey and my goals when it comes to OMI. But once again, waiting on that utility to come out with the OUP and everything that I do anticipate will come with it. So thank you all once again for the support. If you're watching this and for whatever reason you are not subscribed, please feel free to do so down below. And if you haven't liked the video already, please do that. Although we have more likes on the video than the people that are in here. So you guys are absolute legends. Thank you all for all the support. If you guys want to see more lives, let me know. Definitely start doing them again when there's more information to go over. And until the next time, thank you all and